I guess the commission is not ready to give the result out yet. Maybe those 10-8 results, those 10-8 rounds, may be playing a factor in them taking this time.
I think it might be David's microphone that's not working. They're gonna give him another microphone. Yep, it's David's microphone. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, these things tend to happen in a live show. We're just gonna switch out that mic really quickly. Kevin saying hi to all his fans there. We are starting to fill out here at the show center, Iker.
We're going to look at the replay, the action of this first fight of the night. It was such a great fight. Those straight punches by Kevin were fantastic. And Roberto had some good moments on the feet looking back. But at the end of the day, Kevin just had the more damage. He had the more significant strikes and the better distance management. And that's what wins you fights.
Heartbreaking loss for Roberto as we see them in the center of the cage here. But Kevin enjoying very much so his first victory. We hear the Kevin chants. We hear Kevin's people showing out for him. And Roberto, I mean, just it's the two sides of the coin in this sport, unfortunately. One fighter completely ecstatic, completely happy, and Roberto just heartbroken.
The thrill and the agony.
The thrill and the agony, that is correct.
And you can see it in the body language. You know, Roberto just wants to get out of there as soon as possible
100.
because they're taking their time. And that leg, he just doesn't want to keep standing on it.
Yeah, we don't want Roberto standing on that leg for too long.
I think David is ready. Let's give it up, David.
Damas y caballeros, después de 3 asaltos, vamos a las tarjetas de los jueces. Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. All 3 judges score this contest 29-28 for the winner by unanimous decision, Kevin Chaos Rodriguez.
As we knew, Iker, winner Kevin Chaos Rodriguez. And here we see a shake of hands by these, I hope, still friends after this match.
I mean, they just beat the hell out of each other. So if they had any beef, I think it's closed now.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see any too real animosity between them, but Kevin definitely showing out on his first match.
Gonna have a break and be right back to the action for the second fight of the night between Kevin Villarreal and Kevin Arreola in the welterweight division.
Essentially, I reached out to Joe a few years back on social media.
Yeah, back was in the DMs.
3-4 years ago. He had just moved to Mexico City and was trying to meet other entrepreneurs. Didn't know anybody, literally only my wife and her family. And from there, we kept in touch a little bit. And then all of a sudden, the relationship kind of took off when Joe asked me to go to an MMA event in Mexico City. I was real bored one day and I saw an ad for a league here. I was like, Mac, you want to go watch MMA? And we went over, we saw the event. We started just like joking about buying the thing. And that's what started MFL, like a joke between friends about buying a scrappy MMA league. Now we're here. It's absolutely insane. Just this inner desire when I met Joe and I connected with him on this level to really improve the opportunity for professional amateur athletes. It's always been on my mind for a long time. I really started to take a step back and find the thesis of MFL, which is to build the first and largest promotion in Latin America. Make a promotion that's producing events at the same level of production as the big players in PFL, UFC, volatility, extension. I want MFL to be the opportunity where no matter who you are, where you're from, what language you speak, if you're good enough and you want the opportunity, I like this. I think a lot of people that are that's their possibility of creating something.
Investing in Mexico and saying, I want to give a great and better platform for the next generation of amateurs and professionals in Mexico. There's a massive fight culture here that's been on for decades and decades, and we want to continue and build that and have our own chapter in the MFL. I think that impact and doing something that you really think it can change an athlete or a family's life, there's no greater satisfaction.
It means a turning point in combat sports for the region. It marks the arrival of a platform which is providing fair, equal, and honest opportunities to the people who've dedicated their lives to the sport, and providing top tier, engaging, interactive experiences for people who are so
So for me, it's all about building communities so these fighters have the opportunity to show off their skills.
We're on.
I want them to feel that
running
passion,
right now
like
feed.
they're
So as soon as this is gone, I'll give you an announcement.
electricity. They walk in there, ambience is perfect, fights
You
are
guys
going
don't.
on,
You guys don't have a monitor.
crowd's going crazy. In 5 years, I think
Like
MFL
this part
will
was
be
completely
the
dark.
#1 mega promotion
The
fight
top
in
part
history.
in the stream.
Multiple events per month across multiple countries with thousands of fans watching live and
These things happen.
millions of followers and maybe billions of impressions over the course of a year.
MFL 2 guys, November 15th, tune in YouTube at MFL, Instagram, my stream on Facebook, and
Van a arreglar las luces.
I take coffee.
Essentially, I reached out to Joe a few years back on social media.
Yeah, Mac was in the
No
DMs
sé si
3-4 years ago. He had just moved to Mexico City and was trying to meet other entrepreneurs.
Didn't know anybody, literally only my wife and her family. And from there, we kept in touch a little bit. And then all of a sudden, the relationship kind of took off when Joe asked me to go to an MMA event in Mexico City.
I was real bored one day and I saw an ad of our league here. I was like, Mac, you want to go watch MMA? And we went over, we saw the event, we started just like joking about buying the thing. And that's what started MFL, a joke between friends about buying a scrappy MMA league. Now we're here. It's absolutely insane.
Just this inner desire when I met Joe and I connected with him on this level to really improve the opportunity for professional amateur athletes. It's always been on my mind for a long time.
We're really starting to take a step back and find the pieces of MFL, which usually is to build the first and largest mega promotion in Latin America. Mega promotion has been producing events at the same level of production as the big players in the NFL, UFC, one, Bout,
I want MFL to be the opportunity where no matter who you are, where you're from, what language you speak, if you're good enough and you want the opportunity,
I like this. I think a lot of people get that's their
when you see MFL or you type in MFL, I want different ways to know very high quality production, but I also want a fighter to have an experience with our team operations that is amazing, to say I was treated like the first class athlete that I am.
the possibility of creating something.
Is investing in Mexico and saying I want to give a great and better platform for the next generation of amateurs and professionals in Mexico. There's a massive fight culture here that's been on for decades and decades, And we want to continue and build that and have our own chapter in the MFL. I think that impact and doing something that you really think it can change an athlete or a family's life, there's no greater satisfaction.
It means a turning point in combat sports for the region. It marks the arrival of a platform which is providing fair, equal, and honest opportunities to the people who've dedicated their lives to the sport and providing top tier engaging interactive experiences for people who are so lucky.
I obsess over the experience. So for me, it's all about building community so each fighter have the opportunity.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the welterweight division. Damas y caballeros, esta pelea es a 3 asaltos en la categoría de peso welter. Solicitamos la presencia de la esquina azul.
We are back for this welterweight fight, the second fight of the night between Kevin Villarreal and Kevin Arreola, the battle of the Kevins, 23 years of age versus 24 years of age, 3 wins by both sides. So what can we expect from this matchup, Salvi?
Battle of the Kevins, Iker, as we previously mentioned. Kevin Villarreal obviously with a much better record, but that does not lead us to count out Kevin Arreola Sekelkan in this matchup.
Not at all. He trains at Entram Gym, so he knows that he trains and spars with some of the best prospects, especially in this division with Michael Morales.
Here we are expecting the walkout of Kevin Sekelkan Arreola. And here we go.
This makes me want to get on my feet and dance, Salvi. I don't know about you, man.
Yeah, Kevin coming out to this nice Mexican music. Kevin Sekelkan Arreola. As you mentioned, Iker trains out of Entram Gym. 3 wins, 3 losses, but all of these wins and losses, interestingly enough, coming by KO or TKO. So Kevin does not like to go to decision, be it one way or another.
Yeah, he has fought for Lux and UWC. We can expect that since he trains at Entram. So he has the experience on his side as well as the KO power on his hands. So what we do know for a fact is that this fight will probably not go to a decision.
Exactly. And as you mentioned, with having an even record, we can expect Kevin to come out with nothing to lose here, trying to have that 4-3. Oh, my apologies. This is not Kevin Arreola coming out first. This is Kevin Villarreal coming out first.
And those are some beautiful shorts. Great work by Yokao, the new sponsor of MFL, has to be said, because it's a great partnership.
Beautiful fight kits by our sponsor, Yokao, here at MFL. Stay with us, because I've talked to the owners and they have told us that we will have even more custom uniforms in the next time around for MFL. And the gloves are also very nice. I was able to play around with them, feel them out a little. Very nice padding on the inside. Very, very nice gear by our sponsor, Yokao.
Beautiful quality by Yokao. I train with those gloves. I spar with those gloves when I do Muay Thai, so I can say it firsthand. It's a great brand.
Nice.
Now we got Kevin, KJ. Let's just call him AJ because it's Kevin Javier, the guy that is in front of us on the screen. He's a very promising young fighter with 100% finish rate, as well as Kevin Arreola. He's fighting out of Lions Alpha Team here in Monterrey.
Fighting out of Lions Alpha right here in Monterrey, Mexico. And here we see Kevin's corner setting up next to him. Kevin looks pretty filled out, Iker. He looks very big for welterweight.
Huge, and he has just 23 years of age. So born in 2002, this guy's just going to grow into an even bigger frame, and he's going to be even bigger when he grows older. Right now, we're just witnessing the start of his very young and promising career.
As Iker mentioned, 100% finish rate. And look at those splits, Iker. We can expect some high kicks with that flexibility and dexterity.
He's very athletic. He's a great kickboxer. That's his background. So we do know that his striking is his bread and butter. They really want to make us dance tonight, huh?
Coming out now, Kevin Telkelkan Arreola.
And as we already said, win or lose, this guy just doesn't know the judges. So the same case is for Kevin Villarreal. These two guys just know how to finish fights.
Look at Kevin having a very good time coming out dancing for us, doing a little step.
Training out of Real Fighters Mexico with Draco Cosillo on his corner, as well as Gil Nava. So this guy is actually, you know, not with Entram apparently anymore, but when we looked up his record, when we looked up his stats, that's where he started his career, and maybe, perhaps, this is the first fight that he's no longer with him.
The second fighter fighting out of this gym, we also have Renzo Aldave fighting later on in the, you could say, our main event of the prelims. Yep. Also from this team.
As well as Matias Molero, el papá de los helados, and Gael Resendi. So a lot of presence.
Okay, we have more than two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a lot of fighters from Real Fighters Mexico on this card. But Tekelkan is just a guy who has a lot of power in his hands. And the same case is for Kevin Villarreal. So both men are finishers. Both men have thunderous striking.
As opposed to our last matchup where we had the classic striker versus grappler match, here we will be treated to a nice stand-up war, probably.
100%. And in the welterweight division, this is where you want to see two strikers throw down with power and look out for the finish. We're ready to listen to David give up the official announcement. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the welterweight division. Damas y caballeros, esta pelea es a 3 asaltos en la categoría de peso welter. Presentando primero, en la esquina azul, un peleador de artes marciales mixtas con un récord profesional de 3 victorias y 0 derrotas, midiendo 1,75 metros, pesando 168 libras. Presenting now, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record of 3 wins, no losses. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing at 168 pounds. Fighting out of Monterrey, Nuevo León, Kevin Villarreal. Y su oponente en la esquina roja, un especialista en striking, con un récord profesional de 3 victorias y 3 derrotas, midiendo 1,73 metros, pesando 171 libras. Presenting now, fighting out of the red corner, a striker holding a professional record of 3 wins, 3 losses. He stands 5 feet 8 inches tall, weighing at 171 pounds. Fighting out of San Bartolo, Coyotepec, Oaxaca, Kevin Tekelkan Arreola. El referee encargado, the referee in charge, Moises Ruiz.
This crowd not digging Kevin Arreola
at all, man.
Obviously, hometown boy Kevin Villarreal will have the fans on his side. And here we go. Second matchup of the night for MFL 3 Battle of the Kevins. Stand-up war between these two young warriors. Ooh, heavy leg kick he can to open up this matchup.
And straight on the kneecap as well. Beautiful placement.
Kevin Arreola spoiling my promise of this stand-up war very soon in this matchup.
And these guys look bigger than welterweights. They're very compact. They're very strong. And that's the power we spoke about.
They look bulky, definitely. They look bulky for welterweight.
Yep.
Two, I'd say natural welterweights. They look right where they should be in this division. Kevin's corner asking for movement.
They're asking him to be more precise, to look out for the timing. And there he is! Beautiful overhand right. Dropping Villarreal.
Kevin Villarreal trying to spoil the party here for the Monterrey crowd. Big shots by Kevin.
Ooh. Oof. He got caught right there with a pullback counter as well.
Yeah, a little too wild on Kevin Villarreal, throwing some looping punches. Kevin Arriola recovering, staying composed from that rush of attacks by Kevin Villarreal. As I said, just Kevin Villarreal just keeps bum rushing in with wide looping shots. They're not as clean, but when they land, they're very effective. They do a lot of damage. Kevin Arriola trying to lift that leg, very Muay Thai-ish style, Iker, as you can see.
Yeah, the Real Fighters Mexico camp specializes in Muay Thai. That's what we've always seen with Matias Molero, so we can expect Arriola to have that style as well. He landed that right hand beautifully.
He's timing Kevin Villarreal coming in with a looping shot. He steps back and gives him a nice hook. Nice flying knee attempt by Kevin Villarreal.
Nice teep there by Villarreal.
Yeah, very, very big Muay Thai stance by Kevin Villarreal. Oof! Nice shot by Kevin Arriola. Ooh, it looks like Kevin is hurt, and that is all over.
Beautiful first round finish by Sekelkan Arriola, and he takes Villarreal's undefeated record away from him, now 4-3.
Kevin just took the air out of this crowd, as you can see. Very, we didn't hear any yelling, any screaming, any celebration in this finish, precisely because the hometown boy got finished. I didn't see what happened in this finishing sequence. We just saw the shot that put Kevin Villarreal down, but we don't know how Arriola finished it. I think with heavy ground and pound, we didn't really see it from this angle what got through to hurt Kevin Villarreal.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it was a right hand counter after he threw the leg kick and then the elbows with the ground and pound. We shall see the replay though.
As here we can see, the big heavy leg kick from Villarreal. Slip up with that leg kick. Head kick, sorry.
More calf kicks as well by both men. Villarreal throwing that teep kick, having a lot of success. But there it is, rushing forward. As you were saying, that overhand right was the beginning of the end.
So here we see he tries to get up. That was not the fight ending sequence. Here. Very wild motions by Kevin Arriola.
This is the finishing sequence. Those elbows, 12-6, and the referee saw enough.
I think it was some hammer fist. We cannot see how they got through, but I think it was just too many shots that got through for the ref, and he had to stop the match.
David, let's go.
Damas y caballeros, el referee Moisés Ruiz detuvo el combate a los 2 minutos con 29 segundos del primer round. Ladies and gentlemen, the referee Moisés Ruiz stopped the fight at 2 minutes, 29 seconds of the very first round, declaring the winner by TKO, Kevin Sekelkan Arriola.
Kevin really messing with the crowd here. They do not like it. Very good victory for Kevin Arriola. Finally getting one win up on his record. Very nice match. A little wild performance by Kevin, but in the end, he got it done for him.
Yeah, and he keeps that 100% finish rate alive, regardless of the outcome. So you just know that whenever Sekelkan is on the cage, it's going to be a wild fight.
With a style like that, I'm not surprised he has an all finishing rate, regardless, wins or losses.
Yeah, because he takes a lot of risks. As you were saying, he was windmilling those punches, throwing the overhands, and that's where you can get caught. But he played that game, and he got the job done.
Yeah, here we see, again, the highlights of this match. Very composed performance by Kevin Villarreal, but unfortunately for him, the wild style of Kevin Arriola got it done, got through. He really took the air out of this Monterrey crowd tonight, Iker.
Yeah, the first loss for the Monterrey crowd tonight. Let's hope that they don't have to witness all of their guys that are coming up next lose as well, but all of these fights are fantastic on the card, so anything can happen, man.
We've had non-stop action here at MFL 3. If you are in the Monterrey area and are still thinking about joining this event, we highly encourage you to do so. We still have tickets available. Come on down, enjoy the show, watch Gable Steveson versus Hugo Lezama. You do not want to miss this card.
Pandemonium, the best MMA heavyweight Mexico has to offer against the most touted heavyweight prospect in the entire world, already appearing in the JRE, Joe Rogan podcast, already being talked about by the UFC matchmakers as well. So Gable has all of the eyes set on him, but Hugo can steal all of the spotlight tonight.
Definitely, definitely. Nobody should be counting out Hugo Pandemonium Lezama from this matchup. Shout out to our sponsors, Tacos Domingo. Very nice tacos, very good quality of tacos. If you have a Tacos Domingo near you, definitely check them out.
Of course, and you're just making me want to eat, Salvi, but you know what else? We got to talk about the other sponsors. One Car Now, if you're looking out for a trip or for cars to get on rent. OCN, One Car Now, definitely one to look out for. And if you're feeling a bit like you want to party, you know, you can have some Steel Mac wines.
Steel Mac wines. I don't want to have too many Steel Mac wines tonight, Iked. I got to call these fights.
Me too, so let's stay with the water for now. We are now ready for the next fight of the night, the third one for MFL 3. Women are ready to throw down in the 110-pound catchweight division. Carolina Rojas Scrappy making her professional debut against Yareli Reyes. 0-3 her record, but it's a very misleading record, Salvi.
As you mentioned, Iker, a misleading record for Yareli, but here we have Carolina Scrappy Rojas making her MMA debut tonight.
Making her MMA debut and the first appearance for the Bone Breakers team on this card. You know, she's a massive Scooby-Doo fan. That's why they call her Scrappy, but also because of her fighting style. She's very scrappy as well.
Iker, I was backstage talking to some of the corners back there, and I start hearing some barking, like some real live barking, and I'm like, who has a dog here in the backstage? And her coach, Canek Granados, who we can see on screen right there, tells me, no, that's not a dog. That's Carolina. She's pumping herself up, barking like a dog. And I'm like, wow, this girl is living up to her nickname, Scrappy. Scared the crap out of me, because I thought there was a dog in the back.
I can only imagine.
A little shy, a little bashful in the press conference. She didn't want to talk a lot. And her coach was telling me, I keep telling her to bring out that personality, that barking, all that to the cameras. As we can see right now, she's a little more loose. She's dancing. Doesn't seem too nervous to make her pro debut. That's a good sign. And here we have the Bone Breakers team showing out for the first time tonight.
She looks present. She looks like she's enjoying the moment, and that's what we wanted to see, because we also have the opportunity to briefly speak to her in the hotel lobby, and she told us when we were looking at her amateur career that she's 10-0 as an amateur. So she has a lot of experience already, but it just hasn't transcended to the pro stage. So tonight, we shall see if she's ready for the professional stage.
Officially online, it shows a 1-0 record, but after you said, after speaking to her, she told us it was a 10-0 record in the amateur circuit.
And she also has a grappling match with Budo Santos. So as we already know, she has an amazing jiu-jitsu skill set and solid ground and pound from top position. And that's something that Bone Breakers specializes in.
Yes, absolutely. Everything, any experience, any combat experience you can add to your resume is good for you.
100%.
Here we have Yareli Reyes, as we mentioned before, a very misleading record, 0-3, but against top-tier competition over at Combate Global. Our partner, Natalia, asked her what motivates her, and there you can see a picture of her son. We've been seeing her all week with her son, a very dedicated mother with a newfound passion, a newfound reason to fight, which is her son.
Yeah, she just became a mother, so this has definitely gave her newfound inspiration for her fighting career. We know that her base is Taekwondo and Karate, so her kicks are extremely powerful, Sarvi, and her straight punches are very quick as well.
Let's see if we can see some of that Taekwondo base on display here tonight by Yareli.
We already have a classic grappler versus striker matchup in the first fight of the night. I think we are going to see something very similar to the first fight of the night, but with the women, more speed, more athleticism, more agility, so it's going to be a fun one.
As we mentioned, Carolina with that Bone Breakers grappler heavy style. Let's see if she can showcase why she has that 10-0 record in the amateur circuit. And for Yareli, very important for her to try and get her first win on her pro record. I can't imagine she is more desperate than ever to get this first win on her record.
And especially knowing that she took this fight on short notice, you know. She told us on the media, in the lobby before the weigh-in, that she was desperate for an opportunity like this to arise. So let's see if she lives up to the moment. Now we're ready to give it up for our announcer, David Guevara. Let's go, David.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds at a catch weight of 110 pounds. Damas y caballeros, esta pelea es de 3 rounds en un peso pactado de 110 libras. Presentando primero, en la esquina azul, una peleadora de artes marciales mixtas, haciendo su debut profesional, midiendo 1 metro con 53 centímetros, pesando 109 libras. Presenting now, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist making her professional debut. She stands 5 feet tall, weighing at 109 pounds. Fighting out of Ciudad de Mexico, Carolina Scrappy Rojas. Y su oponente en la esquina roja, un especialista en striking, con un récord profesional de 0 victorias y 3 derrotas, midiendo 1 metro con 50 centímetros, pesando 110 libras. Presenting now, fighting out of the red corner, a striker, holding a professional record of no wins, 3 losses. She stands 4 feet, 11 inches tall, weighing at 110 pounds. Fighting out of Tijuana, Baja California, Yareli, la Bestia Reyes. El referee encargado, the referee in charge, Antonio Guerrero.
Ya conocen el reglamento. Hagan una buena pelea. Sigan mis indicaciones. Protéjanse todo el tiempo. Choquen guantes si así lo desean. A sus esquinas.
Antonio Guerrero gives the indications to both Carolina Rojas and Yareli Reyes for the actions to start. We are ready. The crowd is ready. Everyone is ready for this fight to start. The corners are ready as well. And everything is ready for the Poetry in Motion to kick off.
As we mentioned, a short notice fight is typically a double-edged sword. As the late entry to the fight, you have nothing to lose, but you also don't have enough time to prepare. And as the person getting the late replacement as an opponent, you don't have a lot of time to prepare for this new opponent. So it's pretty much a blind match in the form of tactics or strategy, you know?
Yeah, and especially with the switch of styles from the original opponent. It was a grappler versus grappler. Now it's a full-on striker versus grappler.
Oof, nice knees by Yareli right up against the cage. Now we have Caro slowing down the tempo, laying heavy on her up against the cage, throwing some nice elbows. Yareli's shoulder is trapped in there. That'll make it a lot harder for her to get out of there. But Yareli again looking for that big knee.
And you can tell she has that taekwondo-based like karate stance because of the way she always bounces on her feet. She's always moving, always jumping, and not letting Carolina enter the distance.
Yeah, the little side-to-side bounce by Yareli. I'm really liking her clinch work. She's throwing those knees heavy down the center up into Carolina's head.
And you can already see the damage on Carolina's nose as well. She's already bleeding, product of that knee and those straight punches.
Yeah, well, welcome to your pro debut.
Yep. You can hear the corner connect. You get your hands up.
Yeah, she needs to be very careful with a very experienced striker as Yareli. She cannot underestimate lowering her guard. Yareli doing some nice feints to try and get a reaction out of Carolina. Here we have a nice inside leg kick by Yareli.
Those feints are key because they're making Carolina second guess herself a lot.
Yeah, Yareli's trying to get reactions out of Carolina, and that's exactly what she's doing. And when she gets a reaction that she likes, she will come in with a strike of her own. Nice heavy leg kick, but Carolina answers back with a big cross. Nice flickering jab by Carolina there. Ooh, nice cross by Carolina. Once again, heavy head kick by Carolina.
She crossed her beautifully with that left hand.
Yeah, we were thinking it was going to be very one-sided on the feet, and Carolina showing us she's got some stand-up of herself.
And power, because that straight left hand really made her buckle.
That threw Yareli's head back heavily. Nice feints by Carolina. Yareli trying to pull her in, trying to get a read. Yareli feinting herself. Ooh, big jab by Carolina. Big head kick and a jab. Another big head kick. Carolina getting a little trigger happy with those head kicks. She needs to watch out. Yareli staying composed, countering her.
The lead attacks are very efficient right now. She's having a lot of success with the lead high kick as well, so she has to be very careful.
Yeah. Nice hooks by Yareli when Carolina gets in. Carolina cannot get overly aggressive with Yareli because it will expose her into one of those big hooks that Yareli's trying to counter with.
Yeah, that lead check hook is the one that is giving her a lot of success with the counters.
Nice teep kick by Yareli. Heavy lead leg kick, as we've seen so far by Yareli.
We've seen a lot of inside low kicks, not a lot of calf kicks though so far.
Nice clinch work, immediately separate. Oof.
Another one.
She closes out her combinations with that heavy lead leg kick. I like that by Yareli. She's doing a good job opening or closing with that heavy lead leg kick.
And those are the long combinations. That's what it gives you, because you may not connect the 3 punches coming their way, but when you finish with the kicks, that's more effective.
Exactly. As Carolina tries to run back, she is still able to land that heavy lead leg kick. Yareli is. And there we go once again.
A very technical and close round so far.
Yeah. Carolina is doing very good for her pro debut. They are both having a back and forth stand-up battle. Carolina again looking for that high head kick. I think she's going to the well too much on that head kick. Yareli is expecting it now. And, I mean, that is typical of somebody doing their debut, right? Like going back to something that maybe worked once, but you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to keep going to the well too much on that, because you leave yourself open to getting countered or exposed when you go for the same technique way too often.
Yeah, and you become predictable, and that's a problem against someone as good as a striker as Yareli Reyes. Especially with the counter strikes, we are seeing on the replay, the check, lead hook, the inside low kicks are being very effective. And she's throwing longer combinations. I think Carolina needs to stop being so passive and try to enforce the action a bit more on Yareli.
Carolina needs to go back to those straight punches.
Yep.
And Yareli needs to keep pulling her in like she's doing, trying to land those big hooks that she keeps throwing. Very even matchup so far, but I'd tip the scales a little over to Yareli this first round.
I would agree 100% with you, Salvi. I think she had the more significant moments.
Yeah, those leg kicks score.
Everything is ready for the second round. 5 more minutes of action in this third fight of the night here in MFL 3.
Our first and only female fight of the night, unfortunately.
Yep. They always give it their all.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, big shots landed by Yareli.
And it's the long combinations. When she throws a 2, she accompanies it with a 3, you know, the lead hook. And that's beautiful work right there in the striking because she never misses fully.
No. She's landing those hooks heavy. And Carolina looked a little flustered trying to answer back. Didn't really land anything with that combination she threw. She keeps going to that body kick, and Yareli counters perfectly on the spot with those hooks.
She has the timing down to a T.
She, like we said, she's becoming a little bit predictable for Yareli.
Mhm.
Keeps going for that big leaving. See, there we go. Leaving that body shot a little bit naked, not setting it up, just going straight for the body shot. Yareli reads it right away and counters her with heavy hand shots.
And Yareli's smelling blood. She's pressuring forward,
yeah.
switching stances, and she's applying real pressure right now.
Yareli sees she's got her backing up now. She's landing some damage every time Carolina tries to just land that big shot with a kick. Yareli's sort of waiting for it.
Canek is telling Carolina, look out for the feints
And the inside
and don't
leg
bite
kick.
on them.
So she's going to feint and go for the inside leg kick. There's the inside leg kick attempt. That the corner perfectly read and called for.
And now Yareli has the entire center of the octagon to herself. She's keeping perfect distance against Carolina. Carolina is looking out for elbows, looking out for the body, naked kicks, as you're saying. I think she needs to switch things up a little bit. Maybe look out for the wrestling.
Yeah, Carolina attempted a shot, which Yareli stuffed beautifully. Again, lands that head kick, but doesn't really quite land it flush. But see, she goes back to it. Yareli waits for it and counters her once again.
She doubled down on the left-sided attacks. After that head kick, she threw the left hand and landed it beautifully.
Yeah. Yareli waiting. Just trying to set up that counter. Nice hook by Carolina. And there we see the first takedown attempt, successful takedown attempt by Carolina Rojas. Pushes her up against the cage.
But Yareli does a beautiful work to get back on her feet very quickly.
Immediately gets up, immediately goes to the cage to try and turn around, break off from Carolina, and try to keep working the stand-up. Yareli looked like she was trying to go for a Kimura, abandons it.
They're telling her to hook the legs.
Nice pressure by Carolina with her hips. Yareli gets an underhook. Let's see if she can circle out, and that she does.
And that's the experience. That's what it gives you.
Yeah, Yareli stays completely composed, immediately goes up to the cage, gets Carolina off of her, and goes back to her game plan, which is countering.
That inside low kick, once again.
We can see the redness on the inside part of Carolina's thigh. Those leg kicks accumulated, doing some damage for Yareli.
I think Carolina is buying too much on the feints. I
Yes.
think that's the biggest problem for her right now. She just needs to stay calm and look for that takedown like she did and not, be discouraged by it.
Yes, Carolina needs to keep trying to land a heavy shot and then go immediately for the takedown. Even if that shot lands or it doesn't, it's a nice setup for her takedown. And if she just keeps trying to throw one big shot without a follow-up of a takedown, Yareli's just going to keep countering.
Carolina landed a beautiful elbow right there, lead elbow.
Yeah, I saw that a while ago. She was trying like a downward elbow, like a very Muay Thai-ish elbow. She didn't land it the first time. I don't know if she landed it this time, but it's a nice elbow you don't see too often.
And it's effective for someone like Yareli with the Taekwondo base because they enter very quickly on the pocket.
They jump in, and if you time that elbow just right enough, it could do some damage. 15 seconds left in this round. We will go to a third and final round between these two amazing warriors.
I think it's 2-0 for Yareli right now, Salvi.
I would say Yareli is up on the cards, definitely. She is showing she's the more composed and experienced fighter. Carolina not doing terrible, but you can see the bit of a lack of experience. Yareli being much more composed and controlled in her attacks, and keeps roping Carolina in to counter her.
Yeah, and she's been more active as well. She's throwing more punches, more strikes, and just giving Carolina a lot more to think about constantly, and that's the problem. The feints, that takedown attempt, I think that's Carolina's key to victory. I think this third round she needs to look for the takedown, look for the submission, and look for the control on the ground.
Yeah, we saw a nice almost knockdown by Yareli, and Carolina landed a big shot herself this round and the takedown, but I don't think it was enough for Carolina to get the victory here.
Third and final round is upon us for this third fight of the night, with the only women's fight on the card. And so far, we're having a huge upset because we all expected Carolina to do great on the feet and on the ground.
Nice show of sportsmanship by the ladies to kick off the round. A lot of mutual respect, obviously. Both giving each other a tough fight.
Yareli still feigning, still making Carolina second guess herself and move backwards.
Perfect timing. Yep. Perfect timing by Carolina to catch that kick, but Yareli stuffs the takedown, starts damaging, and immediately Carolina abandons the leg. Smart by Carolina. You don't want to stay hanging on where you can take damage. Travis Brown by those side elbows.
Yeah, Yaelton Almeida against Curtis Blades.
Yep.
Too. Yep.
You don't want to stay down that too low where your opponent can do some damage to the side of the head, to the temple. And she was doing just that with some hammer fists. Carolina immediately abandons the leg, as she should.
Beautiful counter there by Carolina, but she just needs to throw more.
Yeah, Carolina, as you said, she's a little too passive, waiting too much, trying to counter Yareli, but that's what Yareli is going for. Yareli is trying to counter her, and maybe that is making Carolina a little tentative to strike first.
And when you're constantly moving backwards, constantly thinking about what your next move is, and you're not really flowing, it's really tiring on the body and on the mind.
And exactly. You get distracted in the fight, and it doesn't look good for the judges. It looks like you are backing down, like you're fleeing from the fight. And there we see again the counters, those hooks by Yareli that have worked for her all fight long. Corner of Carolina asking her to engage, to go for it. But Carolina, as we said, she seems tentative. They keep trying to encourage her to go for it. They're asking her to open up with her hands to start either. I don't know if they're asking her for a takedown or to follow up with the head kick. But, yeah, she does need to open up with her hands. She's just kind of standing there against Yareli.
She's been very predictable right now.
Yes.
It's been 3 rounds of her looking for that check hook, looking for that lead high kick. And I think the corner, what they're trying to tell her is just throw longer combinations, throw more, trust yourself more.
And she's the one, as her corner, since she's the one that has to go for it, Iker, because she is 2 rounds down. Yareli can easily cruise through this last round and win the match. So if anybody has to go for it and has that necessity to finish the match, it's Carolina.
100%. And this is Yareli's world as well. This is the type of fight she likes. Long distance, kicking game, kickboxing distance. So as long as it stays like this, it seems like Yareli's going to get the win. Now Carolina takes the center of the octagon. And this is what she needs to do, just pressure her. Make Yareli move backwards.
Both ladies just circling, not a lot of action right now, as Yareli doesn't need to. But we need to see a lot more urgency by Carolina Rojas. Yareli trying to swoop that kick away.
They're mirroring themselves a bit right now.
A little bit, yes.
When one throws an inside low kick, the other one throws the inside low kick as well.
Yeah,
They're both looking for the counters.
Yeah, but Carolina needs a lot more urgency in this match.
Yep.
She's the one that's down on the cards.
There
Nice shots by Carolina as we talk about that urgency. Little wardrobe malfunction. Nice show of respect by Carolina, letting Yareli fix herself.
30 seconds left. And the corner is telling Carolina, double it up, double it up.
She needs to go all out for it right now. Needs to show urgency, needs to try and finish this match. You have nothing to lose. You're already down on the cards. You need to go for it.
Beautiful body kick by Yareli right there.
Yeah. Nice final attempts by Carolina, but it's not going to be enough to win her this match. Yareli just needs to stay away, and that is it.
A great show of respect at the end. They hug, and both women know they gave out a show. Yareli, with his newfound inspiration, now as a mother, I think she's going to get her first pro win.
Nice matchup, and I agree with you, Iker. If the judges saw what we saw, we should definitely see Yareli getting her first victory in her pro career. Carolina, unfortunately, not the debut she wanted, but she didn't do too bad for herself.
Not at all. Not at all. And I think it's the experience factor playing a lot of momentum here in this fight, because Carolina had great moments. She had some really good significant strikes, but she just needed more activity. I think that's what has failed her in this fight.
You know, sometimes when you make your debut, you just need to get that debut over with, shake off those newfound jitters, that newly arrival into your pro career, and maybe next time we see Carolina, she will be a much more composed version of herself, much more aggressive, and much more concrete in her attacks.
I agree with you, Salvi. She did a great job with the lead attacks, with the jab, with the check hook, but I think she just needs to be more active. No, she was very passive, and with someone like Yareli, who throws long combinations, who has a taekwondo base, who is very efficient, good with the feints, it's very hard to read her.
Especially in that final round, she needed to go for it much more. But Yareli was the more composed and intelligent fighter, definitely showing that experience we talked about for Combate. And let's see if they finally award her her first pro win.
We're about to find out, because David is already in the octagon, so let's give it up to David for the official announcement.
Damas y caballeros, después de 3 asaltos, vamos a las tarjetas de los jueces. Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. The judges score this contest 30-27, 30-27, and 29-28 for the winner by unanimous decision, Yareli La Bestia Reyes.
A very emotional Yareli, as we can see in the center of the cage, with her son celebrating her first MMA pro victory. Iker, an emotion you really can't put into words for Yareli. We can just see an outpour of happiness and emotion on her part.
An incredible moment as she's posing with her child in the octagon with the picture of her first pro win. So now we have Yareli back onto winning ways.
Essentially, I reached out to Joe a few years back on social media.
Yeah, back was in the DMs 3-4 years ago. He had just moved to Mexico City and was trying to meet other entrepreneurs.
Didn't know anybody, literally only my wife and her family. And from there, we kept in touch a little bit. And then all of a sudden, the relationship kind of took off when Joe asked me to go to an MMA event in Mexico City.
I was real bored one day and I saw an ad for a league here. I was like, Mac, you want to go watch MMA? And we went over, we saw the event, we started just like joking about buying the thing. And that's what started MFL, like a joke between friends about buying a scrappy MMA league. And now we're here. It's absolutely insane.
Just this inner desire when I met Joe and I connected with him on this level to really improve the opportunity for professional and amateur athletes. It's always been on my mind for a long time.
We really started to take a step back and find the pieces of MFL, which mission is to build the first and largest major promotion in Latin America. Major promotion that's producing events at the same level of production as the big players in the NFL, UFC, One, Bodybuilding, Extension.
I want MFL to be the opportunity where no matter who you are, where you're from, what language you speak, if you're good enough and you want the opportunity,
I like this. I think a lot of people that are that's their end.
when you see MFL or you try MFL, I want very high quality production, but I also want fighters to have an experience with our team of operations that is amazing to say I was treated like the first class athlete that I am.
The possibility of creating something.
Is investing in Mexico and saying I want to give a great and better platform for the next generation of amateurs and professionals in Mexico. There's a massive fight culture here that's been on for decades and decades, and we want to continue and build that and have our own chapter in the MFL. I think that impact and doing something that you really think it can change an athlete or a family's life, there's no greater satisfaction.
It means a turning point in combat sports for the region. It marks the arrival of a platform which is providing fair, equal, and honest opportunities to the people who've dedicated their lives to the sport and providing top-tier, engaging, interactive experiences for people who are so lucky to call them.
I obsess over the experience. So for me, it's all about building a community so these fighters have the opportunity to show off their skills.
I want them to feel that passion like they're in the Coliseum. Electricity. They walk in there, ambience is perfect, fights are going on, crowds going crazy. In 5 years, I think MFL will be the #1 mega promotion, probably the only mega promotion at this rate in Latin America.
Multiple events per month across multiple countries with thousands of fans watching live and millions of followers and maybe billions of impressions over the course of a year.
MFL 2 guys, November 15th, tune in YouTube at MFL, Instagram, live stream on Facebook, and
Essentially, I reached out to Joe a few years back on social media.
Yeah, Mac was in the DMs like 3-4 years ago. He had just moved to Mexico City and was trying to meet other entrepreneurs.
Didn't know anybody, literally only my wife and her family. And from there, we kept in touch a little bit. And then all of a sudden, the relationship kind of took off when Joe asked me to go to an MMA event in Mexico City.
I was real bored one day and I saw an ad for a league here. I was like, Mac, you want to go watch MMA? And we went over, we saw the event, we started just like joking about buying the thing. And that's what started MFL, like a joke between friends about buying a scrappy MMA league. And now we're here. It's absolutely insane.
Just this inner desire when I met Joe and I connected with him on this level to really improve the opportunity opportunity where no matter who you are, where you're from, what language you speak, if you're good enough and you want the opportunity,
I like this. I think a lot of people that that's their end.
when you see the MFL, when you try the MFL, I want to make a very high quality production, but I also want a fighter to have an experience with our team of operations that is amazing, to say I was treated like the first class athlete that I am.
The possibility of creating something.
Is investing in Mexico and saying, I want to give a great and better platform to the next generation of amateurs and professionals in Mexico. There's a massive fight culture here that's been on for decades and decades, and we want to continue and build that and have our own chapter in the MFL. I think that impact and doing something that you really think it can change an athlete or a family's life, there's no greater satisfaction.
It means a turning point in combat sports for the region. It marks the arrival of a platform which is providing fair, equal, and honest opportunities to the people who've dedicated their lives to the sport, and providing top tier, engaging, interactive experiences for the people who are so lucky.
I obsess over the experience. So for me, it's all about building a community so these fighters.
Kicking things off to some Ramstein, Iker.
Yeah, this just gets me really hyped, really pumped up for this matchup. We already know that the people are here for Omar Mantequilla Diaz, the man that we have on the screen. What can you tell us about him, Calvi?
Omar Mantequilla Diaz has a bit of a misleading record, Iker. He has four pro fights, 2-2, but both of his losses were split decisions. So when you have a split decision, it can really go either way. We know it's a close fight. So those two losses could be a little misleading. He is a local superstar here, as you mentioned, in Monterrey. And he has already competed here for MMA Mexico in Monterrey before. Both of his wins are via TKO in the first round, so we know he's an aggressive fighter.
Yeah, and those were by ground strikes as well. He has really heavy ground and pound. And as you already stated, those split decisions also has to be said were the first two fights of his pro career. So he's currently carrying a 2-fight winning streak. He's one of the head coaches of his own gym, Underdogs, one of the biggest gyms currently in Monterrey. So Omar Diaz, as we already know, is one of the biggest stars from Monterrey featured on this card.
We had a main event in MFL 2 led by one of the members of Underdogs. Here we see in his corner can't remember the guy's name. But he is here in Omar Mantequilla's corner. And here we see Omar crawling into the cage, very John Jones-esque, as a guest we will have here tonight in Gable Stevenson's corner, of course.
Yeah, he was in the meet and greet as well, so the fans got to meet him and got to talk to him, sign some posters, sign some gloves. So definitely John Jones will be in the building.
Brought to you by MFL, Mr. Johnny Bones Jones. And now here we have Luis the Beast Piñango, another late replacement on the card. What can you tell me about Piñango, Iker?
Well, to start, we already saw that the late replacements got the job done in the first fight with Yareli, so we can expect Luis to be a really tough opponent for Omar Diaz. He has faced very tough competition since his first pro fight, and he will take on a really difficult challenge tonight on short notice, as we already stated, against the hometown hero. There are some stories from his gym at Entram of him running through his sparring partners in vicious fashion, when he's at his best. But due to the 5 days notice, we can maybe expect him to go out looking for an early finish and not feel the same level of pressure under the bright lights as he usually does.
He is now no longer with Entram. He fights here out of Monterrey, Mexico. There we see Goyito Perez, another of our Spanish commentators, in his corner. And as we heard that rumor that he is a very dangerous sparring partner. Unfortunately, if you have him in your gym, you are not going to have a good time, Iker.
Yeah, Cesar Vasquez Jr., one of the best fighters from Lux, had a fight with Luis Piñango, and Luis Piñango finished him in the first round very early in both of their careers, so that's a really good indication of how talented Luis Piñango is when he's actually at his best.
Exactly.
He has really heavy hands, really good boxing, jiu-jitsu skills. He's a finisher. And you know, we talked about the records being misleading. The same case is for Piñango, who will be looking to tie up the wins with the losses tonight.
Yeah, more uneven record than we've seen tonight. A couple of fighters here had the opportunity to lead their record with a win. Here, Luis only has the opportunity to tie it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the Bantamweight division. Damas y caballeros, esta pelea es a 3 asaltos en la categoría de peso gallo. Presentando primero, en la esquina azul, un peleador de artes marciales mixtas, con un récord profesional de 2 victorias y 2 derrotas, midiendo 1 metro con 70 centímetros, pesando 135.5 libras. Presenting now, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record of 2 wins, 2 losses. He stands 5 feet 7 inches tall, weighing at 135.5 pounds. Fighting out of Montemorelos, Nuevo León, Mexico, Omar Mantequilla Díaz. Y su oponente en la esquina roja, un especialista en jiu-jitsu, con un récord profesional de 4 victorias y 5 derrotas, midiendo 1 metro con 75 centímetros, pesando 135 libras. Presenting now, fighting out of the red corner, a Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighter, holding a professional record of 4 wins, 5 losses. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing at 135 pounds. Fighting out of Caracas, Venezuela, Luis La Bestia Piñango. El referee encargado, the referee in charge, Moises Ruiz.
But definitely not the crowd favorite.
Most definitely.
Ya conocen el reglamento, sigan mis instrucciones, protéjanse muy bien en todo momento. Hagan una pelea limpia, choquen guantes si así lo desean. Esquinas, por favor.
And here Moises Ruiz kicks us off for Piñango versus Omar Mantequilla Diaz. And here we go, Iker.
This is going to be a great fight in the 135-pound division. My favorite one, personally.
Yeah, we hear a lot of promising things about both of these fighters. Here, both of them starting out fast.
Beautiful shots to the body right there by Mantequilla Diaz.
I see a little size discrepancy. Ooh, Mantequilla looks a little bit bigger than Piñango. A lot more stocky, filled out. And here we just see swinging, Iker.
They're just throwing down.
Heavy swinging by both of these fighters. Omar going to the body, going to the head, going everywhere. And Piñango just also throwing down, finally gets a takedown. A little too wild of a beginning, but Piñango manages to get side control. Here we see Omar Diaz trying to escape, but if Piñango is able to hold him down, he should have a very advantageous position. And here we see the mount with the arm triangle almost in. Omar manages to get his arm out just in time, but now suffering some damage from Piñango up on top, manages to recover guard.
I think Omar went out too hard in the beginning. I think he may have gassed himself out a little bit.
They both went at it, Iker. They just started swinging. They said, to hell with technique, we're just going to stand and bang. And Piñango saw the opportunity to get that takedown, beautifully executed. almost gets the mount, but Omar manages to recover guard. Omar might be a little gassed, kid.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you. I saw him breathing out from his mouth. That's never a good sign, especially this early.
Here Piñango manages to take the back one hook in. Let's see if he can flatten him out. The hand in front of the neck. It is under the chin almost. No, right on the mouth. Piñango needs to soften him up with some damages, some punches.
There's a triangle as well.
Body lock. Body triangle. Very effective in MMA. As we saw Ivan Saliveri use it to finish somebody. But here it is, if you see it's right on the foot, Piñango needs it more on the ankle to lock it up in order for it to be more effective. There we see Omar Mantequilla almost up on his feet. Piñango using his feet to try and keep him down. Trying to turn into that back, but unfortunately for Piñango, the cage is in the way, so good strategy by Omar to keep his back to the cage so that Piñango cannot advance position on that side. Piñango has both hooks in.
And he's also holding his left arm, so that doesn't allow him to close out the rear naked choke.
Yes. Here, what Omar needs is always to keep 2-on-1, 2 hands on one wrist in order for Piñango to not be able to choke him effectively. Here we hear the corner of Omar telling him to get out of there, explaining how to get out of there, but I see Omar just a little tired out. He's just accepting the position by Piñango, and Piñango is, I mean, if he is a little tired, he can just ride out this position into the end of the round, and he could win this round easily over Omar Diaz. I don't know if it's under the chin. I cannot see Iker, but it looks like it is in. It looks like that choke is in. No, Omar is peeling it up from underneath.
Yep.
If he turns quick enough, he could wind up in Piñango's guard, but no, Piñango turns him over, mounts.
There he is.
Omar gets out from the back, starts throwing heavy hooks.
And this is where he needs to capitalize. Throw to the body, throw to the head, knee. Now the left hook, the right hook, throwing to the body. And Piñango is covering up. He looks really damaged right now, but he's still throwing back.
Heavy punches by Omar Diaz. Piñango looks hurt.
The amount of volume is insane by both men. They're both hitting each other with all of their hearts and grit. You can see the referee's really close to the action right now.
Oh, Piñango is down. Piñango is down. The referee's going to stop it.
It is done. A beautiful victory by Omar Mantequilla Diaz, coming back from a really tough first round.
Omar Mantequilla Diaz having this Monterrey crowd on its feet. Celebration.
Living up to the nickname Mantequilla. He showed out why he's really slippery. He got out of that position and he started throwing punches, and he didn't let him breathe.
I am not going to dispute the stoppage. I would have liked to have seen it go a little bit more, Ika, if I'm being honest with you, just a tad bit more, because the punches weren't the heaviest. They were a little tired punches. Let's see the replay.
This is the beginning of the round.
This is the beginning where they were going nuts.
Yeah, the first sequence when he was throwing to the body, and there's Piñango's takedown.
I think they're still going to go a little bit nuts, and then here's where Piñango finally goes for the takedown, mounts him. Omar manages to get out from underneath. Immediately, as soon as Omar is on his feet, he just starts throwing once again. I think it was a very... both fighters expended a lot of energy in this first round. They were both a little bit tired, and Omar just went for it. It's a risk, because if you don't finish Piñango like he did, you're just gassed out completely in the beginning of the second round. Here, let's see the finish. I felt it could have gone on a bit more. See, if the shots aren't that heavy. If you see the hooks, they're a little, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more, let it go on a little bit more, but I can understand unanswered shots no matter how heavy they are,
Yeah, he was landing a lot on the arms as well, but I think it was the body work that got it done, because when they hit you to the body, you just fall.
Yeah, I mean, Piñango fell down, so I can't dispute that a lot, but like I said, I just would have liked to have seen a bit more action before they stopped it.
Mantequilla is living the moment.
No, he made this Monterrey crowd explode.
And we're ready to explode with the official
Damas y
announcement
caballeros,
from
el
David.
referee
Let's go.
Moisés Ruiz detuvo el combate a los 4 minutos con 26 segundos del primer round. Ladies and gentlemen, the referee Moisés Ruiz stopped the fight at 4 minutes, 26 seconds of the very first round, declaring the winner by TKO, Omar Mantequilla Diaz.
I hope we can get some Mantequilla chants like that South Park episode, Mantequilla, Mantequilla.
I mean, we definitely got the chance and the crowd going wild after that victory, though. So
No, this crowd exploded after Mantequilla got up.
So the Monterrey fans can feel happy now that they got a victory in their hands, regardless of what happens next. And now Omar Diaz moves up to 3-2 as a professional fighter. Piñango now 4-6, but that was one of the wildest rounds we've seen in a long time.
They went at it in the beginning of that round.
Yep. Here we have the replays too, and we can see the way Omar Diaz started. He was just going all out from the beginning, from the start of the fight, looking for the knockout.
You know, a lot of fighters walk in there, they have a game plan, they have a strategy, but sometimes they just say, F it, let's throw down. Like Max Holloway pointing at the center of the cage saying, dude, this is, at the end of the day, this is a fight, let's go for it. And that's what we saw in this matchup.
Exactly, and once he got up, he didn't let up at all with the strikes. He kept the volume up, even leveled it up, and started landing heavily to the body, to the head, to both zones equally. And I think that's something that's very underrated in MMA. You don't see a lot of people throw punches to the body, but they're really efficient.
No, as we spoke before, you and I, we really appreciate when fighters can show that beautiful boxing, mixing it up, body, head, body, head. It's very, like you say, underutilized in MMA to see a lot of body punches, but it's a very beautiful sight when we can witness it.
Yeah, and the most emblematic fighter right now that speaks Spanish in all of mixed martial arts is an expert doing that. Ilia Topuria, the body hooks, the body work, the boxing. I think that's something that he has helped revolutionize in mixed martial arts, and we see it each time more and more.
Well, we do have Luis Power Solórzano on this card here later on tonight, and if anybody's going to showcase some nice boxing, it is him.
Definitely. Coming out from Tepito, from the Barrio Bravo, this guy's hands are next level.
Luis Power Solórzano later on tonight, here only on MFL 3 on YouTube. Don't miss it, guys. Stay with us. Grab some Tacos Domingo if you have one nearby, and watch these fights.
And if you're feeling like you want to have a bit of a drink, you can also have some Steel Mac wines. Why not?
Not for you and me, though, Iker.
Definitely.
We got to stay.
We got to stay with the water.
We got to stay with the water right now.
Stay hydrated. Yep. And also, one car now. If you want to rent a car or you want to also travel somewhere, have a road trip, one car now is your solution. Go to OCN and follow them on social media.
Also, don't forget to follow us on our official pages for MFL, Fight MFL on YouTube, Fight MFL on Twitch, Fight MFL on Instagram. Give us a follow if you haven't already.
And this is the English broadcast. There's also the Spanish broadcast. So shout out to Goyito that we saw on the octagon, Natalia Rivera, as well as Benny Vasquez commentating the fights in Spanish for all of you guys.
Shout out to our co-commentators on the Spanish table. As you mentioned, Goyito Perez, who just unfortunately saw his fighter lose.
Yeah. But he's a legend of mixed martial arts, a pioneer for MMA in Mexico, and especially here in Monterrey.
Yes. Goyito, very beloved fighter of this city.
The first ranked fighter that Mexico had in the UFC, and he's here commentating for MFL.
The first Mexican-born fighter in the UFC, Goyito Perez. Because if we're going to say first Mexican, probably, who was it? Edgar.
Efrain.
Before Efrain, there was another guy called Edgar Burns. Edgar Black, I can't remember now. Roger Huerta, El Matador, obviously, one of the first Mexican-American fighters in the UFC. Cain Velasquez.
Yep, free Cain, by the way.
Cain is finally free. Welcome home, Cain. Welcome back. Hope we get to see him in the MMA scene soon enough.
And we'll have heavyweights coming up next, so
we
giving
have
a tribute to Cain.
The big boys up next here on our main prelim fight. Hector Dinamita Negroe versus Renzo, the big puppy Aldave. We'll talk about these fighters in a minute, Iker, but I am really excited about this matchup. Both heavyweight matchups tonight are very intriguing, very promising, both with young prospects, as it is Renzo Aldave. Hector stepped away from MMA for a little bit, but now he is back with a much bigger frame. And there we have him, Renzo Aldave El Cachorrete versus Hector Negroe Dinamita from Mexico and Renzo from Peru.
And we see the records 1-1 for Dinamita and Renzo Aldave. We see the record, that's the amateur record, because this is his pro debut, but there's a big discrepancy in weight. The nationalities, Mexico and Peru, representing the MFL Octagon. And the big puppy, El Cachorrote, will try to make a statement.
Speaking to Renzo, he also mentioned that his record is not quite correct. There it says 7 wins and 4 losses. He told us he had 9 wins,
and
no
zero
losses, and 0 losses. That is correct. Renzo competed in the infamous IMMAF International Amateur Circuit representing Peru, which he won. We do have to acknowledge that Renzo might not be a true heavyweight. He might be a little bit above his true natural weight class.
Definitely.
But that does not intimidate him or stop him from showcasing a big, heavy puncher style. And here we have Hector Dinamita Negroe. Iker, what can you tell me about Hector?
You were talking about how Renzo is not really a natural heavyweight. I think we can say the same thing for Negroe, because this guy weighed in at 215 pounds, a really light heavyweight, and he has a 50-pound gap compared to Renzo. So I think we can expect him to be quicker. We can expect him to be a little bit more agile, but we can also expect him to have a bit of ring rust, because he has been inactive for 3 years outside the octagon.
As we know, typically in Latin America in general, we don't see a lot of heavyweights. Yep. Maybe in Brazil we might see some, but literally outside of Brazil, we do not see a lot of true heavyweights in Latin America. They might be fighting a little bit out of their weight class, as is the case for both of these fighters. But I will say Hector Dinamita Negroe looks a little bit more filled out for the weight class than Renzo does. Renzo seems a little more, he doesn't pack a lot of muscle. He doesn't seem very filled out for the weight class. Hector looks a lot more fit. He looks a lot more like he's worked on the physical aspects of his career so far. And as we mentioned, he stepped away because before we saw him at this weight class, we saw him at welterweight, correct? Yep. So he spent some time trying to grow some muscle, trying to pack on some pounds in order to move up to this weight class. And here we see him at his first attempt at heavyweight against Renzo El Cachorrete Aldave.
And talking about his style, he's primarily a boxer with very heavy hands, lighting speed. Even when he was a welterweight, he had lighting speed. So with the 50-pound weight cap, as we already talked about, I think the speed will be a key factor for him tonight. As you said, he took his time to gain up that weight, and he looks very filled out. He looks very strong and looking under 20 IMMAF World Champion in 2024. So let's see how his pro debut goes. David, hit it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the heavyweight division. Damas y caballeros, esta pelea es a 3 asaltos en la categoría de peso completo. Presentando primero, en la esquina azul, un especialista en striking, con un récord profesional de 1 victoria y 1 derrota, midiendo 1 metro con 78 centímetros, pesando 215 libras. Presenting now, fighting out of the blue corner, a striker, holding a professional record of 1 win, 1 loss. He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing at 215 pounds. Fighting out of Veracruz, Mexico, Héctor Dinamita Negro. Y su oponente en la esquina roja, un especialista en striking, haciendo su debut profesional, midiendo 1 metro con 84 centímetros, pesando 265 libras. Presenting now, fighting out of the red corner, a striker, making his professional debut. He stands 6 feet tall, weighing at 265 pounds. Fighting out of Lima, Perú, Renzo, el cachorrote Aldave. El referee encargado, the referee in charge, Fernando Salas.
Peleador, aquí. Ya conocen el reglamento. Hagan una pelea limpia y escúchenme todo el tiempo. Choquen los guantes si quieren a sus esquinas.
Fernando Salas just gave the instructions for both heavyweights to throw down to end the prelims of MFL 3 El Cachorrote against Dinamita Negroe.
We are closing out big on these prelims.
And we are ready for the poetry in motion to kick off. Don't get out of your seat because this could end really quickly.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this match. Renzo doesn't get too crazy, but once he starts throwing, there you go. Oh man, I'm just waiting for something big to happen right now.
You can tell straight away the difference in speed as we talked about.
Yeah.
Dynamite is much more loose on the feet.
But I feel maybe Renzo packs more power. Oh, there we see some big attempts by Hector.
Interesting, Aldave switching stances a lot. Throwing
Yeah.
the body kick as well from the left side.
So Hector having 2 fights might be misleading because Renzo might have more experience in the amateur circuit. Oh!
No.
Oh,
Oh no.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
No, man. Man, no. Oh,
that was bad.
God. That's a terrible injury, dude.
Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. But it was Renzo's checking of
Yep.
that kick that caused this. Oh, Hector is in pain. Oh, no. Oh, no. This is bad.
This is definitely not the type of result, type of win you want. But at the end of the day, as you just said, Renzo cost it, so.
Yes. Yes, I mean, definitely.
Ah, man. You hate to see it.
Yeah, we hate to see this. We've seen it many, many times in many fights a la Anderson Silva. We've seen it for Chris Weidman.
McGregor Poirier.
McGregor Poirier. We've seen a lot of unfortunate instances of this happening. Let's hope Hector is all right. If we could get the replay soon, we will break it down for you.
Yeah, the crowd is being very classy right now. They're
Yes.
applauding Hector to get carried out of the octagon. And, I mean, this is a community that MFL has built, a community based upon respect and great values.
Very unfortunate end for our fight. It looked like it was going to be a great show of striking. Unfortunately, this injury for Hector ends his night early.
And after 3 years being out of the
Yes.
octagon, this is even
Very unfortunate.
more unfortunate because now he will have to take a lot of time to recover. And We shall see when he'll be able to come back.
You know, maybe putting on that much weight from welterweight to heavyweight. You know, your bone structure is the same, but you're carrying a lot more weight around as you're fighting. I'm not saying it's the cause of that, but I'm just throwing a factor in that could have hindered him in this injury.
And when someone who's 50 pounds heavier than you is checking the kicks as well, it has a lot more impact on the check.
Yes.
Here are the replays. Let's see what actually took place with the check.
Let's break it down for you guys as soon as we get that replay. Here it is. So Hector is going to throw a calf kick, I believe. Yep. Oh, there we see the break. It was the ankle that broke. It was the ankle that broke.
Straight on the knee.
Yeah.
Look at the check.
But see there, very good check by Renzo Aldave. He caused this injury, checking that kick very well. And when you kick the calf kick, this is a huge risk that happens when you go for calf kicks. If you don't know how to kick the calf properly and your opponent is very savvy, as we said Renzo is, this is the end result.
And also when you spar as heavy as Renzo does, you get those repetitions in, and the checks become something almost automatic for you. So that looked like he was already seeing it before Hector was going to throw it. So good fight IQ by Renzo.
Yes, very good.
Ready for the announcement? For David.
Damas y caballeros, el referee Fernando Salas detuvo el combate a los 57 segundos del primer round. Ladies and gentlemen, the referee Fernando Salas stopped the fight at 50 seconds of the first round, declaring the winner by TKO, Renzo El Cachorrote Aldave.
He just smashed the canvas.
You can feel that power all the way over here. Renzo Aldave, what a debut. As we said, this is a guy to keep your eye on.
And now we're going to see the replay of what took place in that minute of this fight.
Yeah, not a lot to break down here. You could just those wild looming punches by Hector. Renzo staying tight, stepping back. Do you see that nice motion? Renzo is, for a big guy, he's very smooth. He's very eloquent with his striking.
He reminds me a bit, and I'm just not saying it because of the physique, but Taito Ibasa's striking and agility.
Yes. And I was waiting for that to eventually happen, for him to throw that big punch when he saw his opening. But just that, I mean, nothing else to do after that check. And you just see the pain on Hector's face right away. That was a very bad break. Ooh.
Yeah.
There you can see it coming back. Oh, man. It's gut-wrenching to see that.
And as someone who just injured his ankle in training, I can tell you, even having a slight ankle injury hurts. So seeing that is just really, really rough.
This is some time off for Hector, unfortunately. Yeah. Renzo Aldave, what a debut.
One to watch.
Essentially, I reached out to Joe a few years back on social media.
Yeah, Mac was in the DMs 3-4 years ago. He had just moved to Mexico City and was trying to meet other entrepreneurs.
Entendido.
Didn't know anybody, literally only my wife.
Entendido. Les avisaron que voy a subir al final a
entrevistar. And then all of a sudden, the relationship kind of took off when Joe asked me to go to an MMA event in Mexico City.
I was real bored one day. I saw an ad for a league here. I was like, Mac, you want to go watch MMA? And we went over, we saw the event, we started just like joking about buying the things, and that's what started MFL, like a joke between friends about buying scrappy MMA league, and now we're here. It's absolutely insane.
Just this inner desire when I met Joe and I connected with him on this level to really improve the opportunity for professional amateur athletes. It's always been on my mind for a long time.
We really started to take a step back and find pieces of MFL, which usually is to build the first and largest promotion in Latin America, making promotion that's producing events at the same level of production as the big players in the UFC, but no extension.
the opportunity where no matter who you are, where you're from, what language you speak, if you're good enough and you want the opportunity.
I like this. I think a lot of people that that's their end.
When you see the MFL, when you try the MFL, I want different fighters to know very high quality production, but I also want the fighter to have an experience with our team of operations that is amazing, to say I was treated like the first class athlete that I am.
The possibility of creating something
is investing in Mexico and saying I want to give a great and better platform for the next generation of amateurs and professionals in Mexico. There's a massive fight culture here that's been on for decades and decades, and we want to continue and build that and have our own chapter in the MFL. I think that impact and doing something that you really think it can change an athlete or a family's life, there's no greater satisfaction.
needs a turning point in combat sports for the region. It marks the arrival of a platform which is providing fair, equal, and honest opportunities to the people who've dedicated their lives to the sport, and providing top-tier, engaging, interactive experiences for people who are so lucky.
I obsess over the fan experience. So for me, it's all about building a community so these fighters have the opportunity to show off their skills.
I want them to feel that passion like they're in the Coliseum. Electricity. They walk in there, ambience is perfect, fights are going on, crowd's going crazy. In 5 years, I think MFL will be the #1 mega promotion, probably the only mega promotion at this rate in Latin America.
Multiple events per month across multiple countries with thousands of fans watching live and millions of followers and maybe billions of impressions over the course of a year.
MFL 2 guys, November 15th, tune in YouTube at FightMFL, Instagram, live stream on Facebook, and
Essentially, I reached out to Joe a few years back on social media.
Yeah, Mac was in the DMs like 3-4 years ago. He had just moved to Mexico City and was trying to meet other entrepreneurs.
Didn't know anybody, literally only my wife and her family. And from there, we kept in touch a little bit. And then all of a sudden, the relationship kind of took off when Joe asked me to go to an MMA event in Mexico City.
I was real bored one day and I saw an ad for a league here. I was like, Mac, you want to go watch MMA? And we went over, we saw the event, we started just like joking about buying the thing. And that's what started MFL, like a joke between friends about buying a scrappy MMA league. Now we're here. It's absolutely insane.
Just this inner desire when I met Joe and I connected with him on this level to really improve the opportunity for professional amateur athletes. It's always been on my mind for a long time.
We really started to take a step back and find the thesis of MFL, which mission is to build the first and largest promotion in Latin America. Mega promotions producing events at the same level of production as the big players in the UFC 1, Bout, extension.
I want MFL to be the opportunity where no matter who you are, where you're from, what language you speak, if you're good enough and you want the opportunity.
I like this. I think a lot of people that that's their end.
When you see the MFL, when you try the MFL, I want different fighters to know very high quality production, but I also want the fighter to have an experience with our team of operations that is amazing, to say I was treated like the first class athlete that I am.
The possibility of creating something.
Is investing in Mexico and saying, I want to give a great and better platform for the next generation of amateurs and professionals in Mexico. There's a massive fight culture here that's been on for decades and decades, and we want to continue and build that and have our own chapter in the MFL. I think that impact and doing something that you really think it can change an athlete or a family's life, there's no greater satisfaction.
It means a turning point in combat sports for the region. It marks the arrival of a platform which is providing fair, equal, and honest opportunities to the people who've dedicated their lives to the sport, and providing top-tier, engaging, interactive experiences for people who are so underqualified.
I obsess over the experience. So for me, it's all about building community so these fighters have the opportunity to show off their skills.
I want them to feel that passion like they're in the Coliseum. Electricity. They walk in there, ambience is perfect, fights are going on, crowd's going crazy. In 5 years, I think MFL will be the #1 mega promotion, probably the only mega promotion at this rate in Latin America.
Multiple events per month across multiple countries with thousands of fans watching live and millions of followers and maybe billions of impressions over the course of a year.
MFL 2 guys, November 15th, tune in YouTube, @FightMFL, Instagram, my stream on Facebook, and
Essentially, I reached out to Joe a few years back on social media.
Yeah, Mac was in the DMs 3-4 years ago. He had just moved to Mexico City and was trying to meet other entrepreneurs.
Didn't know anybody, literally only my wife and her family. And from there, we kept in touch a little bit. And then all of a sudden, the relationship kind of took off when Joe asked me to go to an MMA event in Mexico City.
I was real bored one day and I saw an ad for a league here. I was like, Mac, you want to go watch MMA? And we went over, we saw the event. We started just like joking about buying the thing. And that's what started MFL, like a joke between friends about buying a scrappy MMA league. And now we're here. It's absolutely insane.
Just this inner desire when I met Joe and I connected with him on this level to really improve the opportunity for professional and amateur athletes. It's always been on my mind for a long time.
We really started to take a step back and find the pieces of MFL, which usually is to build the first and largest mega promotion in Latin America. Mega promotion that's producing events at the same level of production as the big players in the NFL, UFC, one, but tailored to extension.
I want MFL to be the opportunity.
We are back for the main card of MFL 3 in the lightweight division. Emmanuel Steve Arzola against Gael Guerrero de Dios Resendiz. In the lightweight division, as we already stated, 1-0 against 1-1. Both Mexican fighters, 27 years old for Arzola, 23 years old for Gael. We are ready for this promo, this video, so please do not get out of your seat.
Gente, bienvenidos al momento más excitante de toda la noche, la cartelera estelar.
Vamos a iniciar con una batalla entre Gael Resendiz,
Uno de nuestros ganadores de sumisión de la noche. Uno de los peleadores más fuertes en la división. Un monstruo dentro de la jaula.
Welcome to MFL 3. live in Show Center Complex, Monterrey.
All credit to our beautiful designing team and marketing team for that promo. Salvi, we are ready for the main card to start.
Starting off this MFL main card with a big match. He get in the lightweight division. Gael Resendiz, a returning MFL competitor. As there you saw in that promo package, he won his first MFL fight via triangle. This fight also has a late replacement on it.
Yep.
Just a couple days ago, Gael's opponent was switched out to Emmanuel Steve Arzola. You talked to me a little bit about Emmanuel, Iker. You told me he has some combat sambo experience. He is a bronze medalist in this system, how you will, that is combat sambo, that is very popularized in Russia and in that area in the Caucasus region. Not so popular over here in Latin America, so it's rare to see people from this region competing in combat sambo. But as we all know, it's the closest thing to an MMA match that you can get outside in regular competition.
Most definitely. And the other Mexican fighter that jumps to mind that has that sambo experience is Imanol Rodriguez. So for Emmanuel Steve Arzola to have this bronze medal in combat sambo just speaks volumes to the amount of talent and the amount of hype that he's carrying with him. He's very confident. He told me, I took this fight on 1 week notice because I was really waiting for this opportunity. And now that we all know his MMA credentials, he's foaming at the mouth to deliver.
Emmanuel Steve Arzola, as we mentioned before, taking a fight on short notice is a double-edged sword. As the guy taking it in short notice, you have nothing to lose. And Gael, Warrior of God, Resendiz, prepared for somebody completely different than Emmanuel Arzola. So here, let's wait out for Gael to make his walkout.
A very different stylistic matchup for Gael, but most definitely a better stylistic matchup, I feel, for the fans, because these are two elite grapplers facing each other.
Yes, I saw a picture of Emmanuel also in a wrestling singlet. So I believe he also has some wrestling experience, which we don't see in Mexico that often either. So I'm very interested to see Emmanuel's technique right now when we kick off.
Emmanuel, who's ready to defend that undefeated record. He's coming from Coahuila, and he was also undefeated as an amateur in MMA. Only 2 fights, but he has never known a loss.
And here we have Gael Guerrero de Dios Resendiz making his walkout, fighting out of Mexico City, Mexico. As we mentioned, he made his pro debut in MFL 1, which he won with a very nice triangle submission. His main weapon will obviously be his jiu-jitsu, but we do not discredit his boxing either.
No, he has great hands. He trains with Matias Molero, and he told us that his intentions for this fight are very clear. He needs to win at all costs. He lost his last fight at FLC in Querétaro, but this guy is really talented. Training out of Real Fighters Mexico, that gym, we already saw one of them tonight, and we'll see their second fighter competing on this card, and then we'll have Matias Molero. So a really busy night for the corner.
Gael is a man of a lot of faith. He gave praise to his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ at the press conference. He also handed Emmanuel Steve Arzola a little prayer or a little psalm. He handed something to him at their face-off, which I thought was a really nice touch. And he was wearing a lot of Christian memorabilia. He had a shirt with some psalms on it, so he is a man of a lot of faith.
And a lot of faith in himself as well, in his skill set, in his camp, in his preparation. Gael also told us that his last fight was not what he usually delivers in the cage, and we saw it in MFL 1. He's a really aggressive fighter. He's not passive at all, so we can expect this one to be fireworks from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, as we said before, sometimes after you've dusted off those jitters of your debut and you're in there, you can lose a bit of that focus. Sometimes you need some of that nerves, you need some of that adrenaline to keep you focused in the fight. sometimes after your debut, you feel a little more relaxed. You might feel a little too relaxed, and that might have been what cost Gael his last matchup. Let's see how he shows up here tonight as he steps into the MFL cage with a big scream, ready to showcase for us all.
And as Gael enters the octagon, Arzola is exercising the neck. So we are ready to see some grappling exchanges. David, hit it. We're ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the lightweight division. Damas y caballeros, esta pelea es a 3 asaltos en la categoría de peso ligero. Presentando primero, en la esquina azul, un especialista en sambo, con un récord profesional de 1 victoria y 0 derrotas, midiendo 1 metro con 73 centímetros, pesando 154 libras. Presenting now, fighting out of the blue corner, a combat sambo fighter, holding a professional record of 1 win, no losses. He stands 5 feet 8 inches tall, weighing at 154 pounds. Fighting out of Saltillo, Coahuila, Emmanuel Steve Arzola. Y su oponente en la esquina roja, un especialista en Jiu-Jitsu, con un récord profesional de 1 victoria y 1 derrota, midiendo 1 metro con 75 centímetros, pesando 153 libras. Presenting now, fighting out of the red corner, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter, holding a professional record of 1 win, 1 loss. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing at 153 pounds. Fighting out of Cuernavaca, Morelos, Gael Guerrero de Dios Reséndiz. El referee encargado, the referee in charge, Antonio Guerrero.
Ya conocen el reglamento. Hagan una buena pelea. Protéjanse todo el tiempo y sigan mis indicaciones. Choquen guantes si lo desean.
MFL 3 main card underway. Lezama versus Steveson. But here we kick it off with Emmanuel Steve Arzola and Gael Guerrero de Dios Reséndiz.
Both men who are very fluid. They switch stances a lot on the feet. I think maybe due to their grappling level and skill, they will cancel each other out with the grappling.
Very nice entry to the leg by Emmanuel Arzola. He is just running at Gael.
Yep.
Emmanuel, oh my God, beautiful suplex by Emmanuel Arzola. And here he's going to go for it again. I feel he's just going to try and keep suplexing him.
Beautiful knee there.
Beautiful knee by the side, again attempted. And there we hear his corner telling him to knee the leg of Gael Reséndiz. Very quick right away. Emmanuel Arzola very aggressive with his takedown entries, hitting a beautiful suplex. As I mentioned, he had wrestling experience, and we saw it right there. It's very rare to see somebody hit a suplex that clean in MMA unless you have some wrestling background.
Especially in the first minute of the fight.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to hit it anytime, that's why you should hit it, because you expend a lot of energy throwing your opponent around. But here we just see Emmanuel relentless, holding on to Gael. Gael finally able to break free. Ooh, that was a slip. On the high kick, we see a little mark on Gael's chin, but I feel the wrestling is going to be a big issue in this fight for Gael, Iker.
Arzola looks dominant with the wrestling.
Arzola has a very weird wrestling-esque take, because in wrestling you see them lift the leg a lot, either behind their opponent or up in front, as Emmanuel is doing, and I feel it's throwing Gael off. He doesn't know how to deal with that wrestling attack.
But you can see Gael is defending the body lock just as Peter Yan did against Merab, throwing the elbows to the forearm of Arzola to at least damage him. Oof. Oof.
I don't know if those strikes are legal there. The referee is telling him to watch out.
He has the 4 points
he has
down.
Both hands on the mat. Right now he could knee Arzola.
That was illegal.
He had one hand down. I don't know what they explained to him. But here we see the ref. I don't know if he's going to take a point. He's going to talk to Arzola. But this is good for Gael. Gives him a moment to breathe. he had one hand on the mat. As far as I know, both hands have to be on the mat
Yeah,
in order for it to be an illegal strike. That's the new rule.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're following the old rules where one hand makes you a grounded opponent, but as far as I know, you need both hands on the mat. Let's see if Emmanuel keeps up with this relentless wrestling pace.
Gael switching stances now as a southpaw.
Oof! Nice hook by Gael. Teep by Steve. And there, Steve trying to go into the entry again. Gael stopping him this time.
That was a beautiful teep.
Very big teep.
And
And elbow
as well.
by
He's mixing
Emmanuel.
things up great.
Do you see? He pulls that single leg and goes around the back to take Gael down, lifting his leg. Here, Gael about to take the back. Big shots, big side shots by Gael. Referee telling him to watch out for the back of the head. Gael trying to cradle or crucifix Manuel Arzola here. Here his head is heavily exposed. Gael can punish with side elbows and punches, Iker.
And he's doing a beautiful work to look for the crucifix. Yep.
Here we have it. Yeah, this is a tough position to get out of. Gael could land a lot of damage with that top elbow over to Emmanuel Steve Arzola's head.
The level of scrambling from both men is absolutely incredible to watch.
I am super impressed with Emmanuel's wrestling. It is very high level.
Oh, but this position is
very
really bad for Emmanuel.
Yeah, it's very hard to get out of this position because one arm is trapped. But here, Steve does a very beautiful job. Gael almost stayed on top. Very good showcase by both of these men in grappling. Here we have Gael attempt an entry. I think it's going to be difficult for him to take Emmanuel down. As you saw, Emmanuel defended by pulling up Gael's shoulder. That's a good defense. Very good wrestling by Emmanuel, as we said.
But we have to remember the fact that this was short notice for Emmanuel. This pace is really high for someone who took a fight on 1 week notice.
I'm starting to see Emmanuel gas a little because he went too crazy throwing that suplex. Gael is going to have the bigger gas tank, we assume. And here it is starting to oof! Oh, huge takedown by Emmanuel Arzola. Gael throwing up an armbar, but Emmanuel savvy to it right away, defends it. Very, very unorthodox, Emmanuel Iker. Don't you think? He's a little wild in there.
Wow.
Armbar, but Emmanuel manages to pull his elbow out. Let's see if Gael manages to end up on top. Very nice fight to kick off our main card, Iker.
Incredible.
Very crazy grappling scenarios. As we said, I don't know, we got to give it to Emmanuel, right?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Both men are really unorthodox, though. Just as you said, I think Emmanuel came out guns blazing in the beginning of the fight. And we have to see if these next 10 minutes are going to be the same pace, because I think this pace was too much for the first 5 minutes.
I want to see a replay of that beautiful suplex here. We're getting replays a little more late into the first round. I hope they show us that beautiful suplex that Emmanuel hit on Gael right at the beginning of the match. There we see that huge takedown at the end of the round by Emmanuel. It looked like he was going to transition into a leg attack. As I mentioned, that Sambo specializes in a lot of leg attacks, so key to watch out there with Emmanuel. A lot of knee bars, a lot of toe holds, a lot of that. Straight knee bars is the main attack in Sambo at the legs. But judging by Emmanuel, he could throw up anything. Emmanuel looking a little tired. He just paced in front of us. He seems a little tired.
Yeah, he's breathing from the mouth. He's pacing back and forth. That's never a good time.
Gael, a lot more composed. Seems like he's still got a lot of more energy in him.
He has to capitalize on the body language that Emmanuel is showing, and that's the boxing combination.
Very unorthodox striking by Gael, like a weird hook there. Emmanuel lands a big shot, but Gael stuffs that takedown. Here we see Gael in that same position we saw in the first round. Let's see if he tries to capitalize, get that crucifix again, because he has one arm trapped. He's trying to trap the other arm. I think that was a clean shot.
Clean shot. Those elbows have been key for him this fight.
Yeah, Emmanuel's corner complaining about the back of the head. I thought that was clean.
Yeah, that was next to the ear.
Yeah. Gael trying to set up this crucifix, I think. A little passivity here in the fight. Gael just working those elbows. I don't like that Gael is sitting down too much because Steve could put his weight on top of him, lay him back, and wind up on top of Gael. But now that Gael has chopped that shoulder, it might be a little better. But if you see, Gael is laying down way too much on his hip, and Steve is directly on top of him, and this is going to be bad. See? This is what I was talking about. Winds up in side control because he sat back down. A little inexperience there by Gael. He had to stay on top of Steve from that crucifix position to try and keep his weight on top of Steve, so Steve couldn't put his weight on top of him like he ended up doing.
And now Gael is trying to use the fence to his favor as well to get back to his feet, but as you said, Emmanuel is really dominant in the wrestling position.
Yeah, looks like Gael here is trying to use that octopus guard a bit to get up off from underneath. He is pulling Steve's ankle up. Crowd not liking this passivity in the grappling exchange. Oof, big knee by Emmanuel. Ooh.
Emmanuel is giving Gael a lot to think about.
Yeah. Very unorthodox, very unpredictable so far. Emmanuel Stevie or Steve Arzola. Here we see him on Gael's back, but Gael is going to get up.
Gael using his frame, trying to pull himself upwards.
Seems like, I don't know what Gael is doing. He's staying in that position, and Emmanuel driving his head into the cage. This is bad for Gael right now. Seems like Emmanuel is going to be able to take his back from here, intelligently pulling him away from the cage so he can't turn his back to the cage, as Gael is about to do. Use it to get up, but good position by Emmanuel Arzola, staying more behind Gael.
Being relentless with his attacks.
Yeah. Very good grappling by Emmanuel so far.
The corner asking him to throw elbows. Arzola, the one they're asking him.
Very unorthodox takedown by Emmanuel. Manages to roll on his back, sort of like a Berimbolo scenario there, to end up taking Gael's back. I'm really liking Emmanuel Steve's grappling so far.
Very unorthodox, but very effective, very efficient, and very tiring for Gael because he constantly has to work.
Yeah, Gael seems like he's gassed out a little bit now, which should not be the case. Gael tries to roll into the leg here, roll into the knee. He seems a bit far. Steve bends that knee, puts the weight on his leg, and is safe from Gael's leg attack. Here, Steve needs to look for a crossface to try and lay Gael down on his back.
And I think, I just saw this on the screen, but I think Gael is accepting the position on the ground because his leg is busted up. I don't know what happened, but he has his shin fully red. I don't know why.
Probably from a kick. Maybe he landed it on Emmanuel's elbow or knee. That is the case when we see a lot of bleeding from the shin. It was like probably landed on Emmanuel. There we see a rolling knee bar. Beautiful rolling knee bar by Gael. Let's see if he can straighten it out. Emmanuel should be very savvy to knee bars, as we said, because of the sambo. But he's going for a heel hook. Switches it to a heel hook. Emmanuel kicks it off. As when the knee line is cleared, Emmanuel is safe. So see, now the knee is out from in between Gael's legs. Emmanuel is safe.
And Gael is expending a lot of energy in this position.
He is going for a calf slicer now. He is going for a calf slicer. Nice calf slicer, but elbows from the calf slicer from Emmanuel. This is, man, I know the crowd is booing, but I'm appreciating these grappling scenarios a lot. It has been a very unorthodox and cool fight. There we see Emmanuel pushing Gael off of him from that calf slicer, because it is not a fun place to be in that calf slicer. But it's also hard to get out of that position because your weight is behind you. A la Charles Oliveira, if we remember in the UFC, that tight calf slicer. Here we see a bit of Emmanuel's takedown attempts. See that beautiful roll he did there to wind up on top. Both of these men are very tired, Ike. Very, very tired. Here we see strikes just from From side position there, we see a beautiful roll by Gael. This has been a weird, crazy fight, but very entertaining.
And very technical from both
Very,
sides.
very technical on the ground. I am liking what I'm seeing. Gael looks spent, Ike.
Yeah, both men look
tired.
very spent.
Look, and Emmanuel too. This is going to be an interesting third round.
Yeah, Arzola was getting air thrown to him with a towel. Basically, the corner was telling him, wake up, you're winning this fight. And I agree. I think
Yes,
it's 2-0 up.
yes, I think Emmanuel is up by 2 rounds.
Yep. Gael is telling the crowd to cheer him on. And I think we're going to have a beautiful finishing sequence for this third and final round.
What a way to open up our main card. Here we go.
And this is going to be about the will of both men and the hard determination that they both have, because I think they're both tired completely.
Yeah, here we see some wild punching exchanges by both of these men. Yeah, that kick didn't have a lot behind it. You can see both of these guys are really spent. Punches still have some power to them on both sides.
But look where their hands are standing.
Oh,
they're
yeah,
really
they're so
down low.
tired. You know that once those hands start to drop, it's a clear sign that you're fatigued.
Yep.
Nice step in elbow by Emmanuel, very Muay Thai-esque. Nice jab by Emmanuel. See, they're just both standing there. They're very tired, Iker. This was a very grappling heavy fight, and
Ooh, beautiful right hand by Gael.
beautiful cross by Gael Resendiz.
And this is what he needs to do. Keep it on the feet, sprawl the takedowns, and try to finish this fight.
Yeah, I'd like to see them end this a hammer fist.
Standing
by
hammer
Emmanuel
fist,
Arzola.
yeah.
Emmanuel is very unorthodox. If I get to talk to him, I'm going to ask him about where he gets his style from, because see, he's winding up that standing hammer fist.
And now a spinning back fist from Gael, mirroring each other.
They're both getting creative out here. I like to see it.
We saw him
another
throw a
standing
flying
hammer
knee
fist.
as well in the first round.
Big takedown by Emmanuel. Gael rolls through, but Emmanuel winds up on his back. This could be the end, Iker. On your back, you can see the grimacing on Gael's face. I don't know if he's way too tired, if he's hurt from something, but yeah.
I think it's his right leg. I think it's his right shin that is busted
Look
up.
at the demeanor. He's crawling
Yeah.
to the cage. You don't see this a lot in MMA. Just Gael crawling to the side of the cage to try and get up. Steve Arzola jumps on his back.
This is what you call a scrap.
Yeah. Both of these guys have expended themselves to the limit here on this match.
But this is what you want to see, especially from two guys who are young, who are very promising, who have a very well-rounded skill set. Arzola is showing out why he's actually a bronze medalist in combat sambo.
And what a show out for Emmanuel Arzola to come in on late notice and put on a show, stamp his name in MFL, to have them call him back. Definitely. Yeah, that was an illegal strike. The referee said no. I thought both of Gael's hands were down, and Emmanuel threw a knee there. Gael literally fleeing from Emmanuel, but he holds on to him. There we see.
He just can't seem to get away from that hook from Arzola.
Here we see the crowd chanting something. I can't really make out what they're saying. This is going to be it. If Emmanuel is able to mount, but at the same time, I think Emmanuel is very tired because he can't capitalize on these advantageous positions, these dominant positions he's ending up in. He's not able to punish Gael enough to finish the fight.
Definitely. And Gael is always dangerous. Even when he's in this position, he's scrambling out of positions and he's looking for leg locks, he's looking for arm bars. He's never out of this fight.
As we saw, he rolled into a knee bar precisely from one of these positions before and had Emmanuel in danger there.
And you can just see the damage on his body from rolling on the cage, rolling against the fence. That also is damaging a lot.
Yeah, Gael is spent. He does not have the gas tank to fight back to Emmanuel. And Emmanuel, I believe, is just going to hold on for the remainder of this round on to Gael.
He's fought a very smart game plan, I feel.
Yeah. Oof. Very unorthodox, Emmanuel. very unorthodox, and I like it. He's throwing from weird angles. Here Gael setting up a Kimura, but doesn't have the right position.
North-south.
To throw it from an armbar. Not quite latched on enough to Manuel. 30 seconds.
In side guard. Side control, sorry.
Yeah, we see those downward elbows from Emmanuel, damaging the body, throwing the face. And here is the moment for Emmanuel to really put a stamp on this match and try and finish it. 10 seconds left. I believe we will go to the cards, Iker.
And all the people who came in on short notice delivered on this card. Even Piñango, though he lost, man, did he gave a great performance.
By Emmanuel to end this match. And I believe I will be speaking to him at the end of this match, Iker.
Completely. I think this is a victory for Coahuila, 2-0, probably for Emmanuel Steve Arzola and Gael Resendiz, who's actually with his corner, not looking all that happy, and this is what we talk about, the thrill and the agony. The body language always sends out a message.
Beautiful display of grappling by both men.
Definitely. We are going to see the replay of the action when they were on the feet. This unorthodox hammer fist by Arzola. The 1-2 from Resendiz connecting with the left hooks. He had a lot of success on the feet with the boxing, but Arzola just had a better ability and game plan to mix things up and to try to take the fight to his world, the wrestling. And this is where he had the most success, in the grappling exchanges, taking the back, taking control of Gael next to the fence. Gael had some good moments, some good scrambles, looking for the knee bar, looking for the arm bars, but at the end, the control probably won Arzola this fight. And as we see on the replays, he had some real unorthodox attacks, unorthodox strikes with the head kicks from the clinch position, even looking for the knees. And both men are absolutely spent. We see them in the octagon, just grimacing, having a rough time getting back up. But it's just how tired they are. They gave it their all. They showed a lot of heart, and we see Gael is not even to get up to his feet already. And on the other side, we see Arzola having a rough time to stand up. So this tells you a lot about how good this fight was and how much these guys gave it their all, delivered. Probably a candidate, early candidate for fight of the night, and we're ready for the official announcement from our announcer, David Guevara. David, are you ready? Because we're ready to hear the official result.
Damas y caballeros, después de 3 asaltos, nos vamos a las tarjetas de los jueces. Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. All 3 judges for this contest, 30-27, for the winner, by unanimous decision, Emmanuel Stevie Arzola.
Damas y caballeros, Emmanuel, estoy aquí con su ganador, Emmanuel Stevie Arzola. Emmanuel, una semana de aviso para tomar esta pelea. Dinos cómo te sientes después de esta victoria tan desgastadora, podemos ver en ti, pero lo entregaste todo en la jaula. Ese suplex al principio, increíble. ¿Cómo te sientes?
Oh, muchas gracias a todos. Yo quería estar aquí de la semana pasada. Estaba listo para otro evento, pero yo sabía que mi momento iba a estar aquí o en otro lugar, pero era mi momento. Estoy con todos ustedes. Muchas gracias por haber venido aquí a FML a vernos pelear. Yo no tengo nada contra mi oponente, ni contra los que sigan, ni con las que pasaron. Estoy siguiendo un sueño por mí y por mi gente, y que vean que sí se puede. Estoy muy contento. Y el sábado, este sábado 20, vamos a representar a México en un torneo de sambo nacional con mucho de mi equipo. Vamos a ir y vamos a ganar. Y vamos a demostrarle a todos que estamos listos.
Stevie, Claramente en la pelea se vio tu superioridad con la lucha, con el sambo. Dime qué tanto influyó en la lucha esa experiencia que tú tienes por fuera en el sambo y en la lucha.
Sí, no. Es mi base, tengo mucho tiempo practicando lucha. Un saludo a todos mis amigos de Lucha Coahuila. Mis entrenadores que están siempre apoyándome. Y a toda la gente de la lucha que está viéndome y que saben todo lo que he pasado para llegar aquí. A mi equipo y a todo el mundo.
Señoras y señores, Emanuel Stevie Arzola.
Beautiful statement by Emanuel Steve Arzola, who now moved up to 2-0 in the lightweight division and who just confessed that he's competing this Saturday in an international Sambo championship to represent his gym, Lucha Coahuila. So this guy just stays active. This guy must not miss a beat, and we are seeing the replays once again from this fantastic fight. Beautiful grappling exchanges, beautiful wrestling advantage that Arzola showed in this fight with his technique, with his scrambles, with his unorthodox game. And now we must see how he does this Saturday in the International Sambo Championship that he talked about. If you liked his fighting style, if you like what you saw right now on the YouTube broadcast, you must not miss this man's next fight, wherever it is, whenever it is, because this guy is really talented. He's a young prospect from Coahuila, Mexico, who has great Sambo credentials and who, as you just saw, is able to dominate fights on the ground, something that is not really common here in Mexico, especially in the local scene. But Arzola just showed out and delivered a fantastic performance against a really tough opponent. Gael was originally meant to face Jesus Pacheco Hernandez, who's more of a boxer, more of a striker, and the complete switch of styles probably played a factor in his training, in his preparation for this fight, for this result. But at the end of the day, this is what fighters do. They take on anyone, anytime, any place, and Arzola did it with 1 week notice. Incredible performance by the Coahuilan. Salvi, so that was a beautiful statement, beautiful words by Arzola after the win.
He was very emotional up there. He was so tired, I didn't want to keep asking him any more questions. I wanted to keep it simple just because, he seemed very, very tired.
And he's competing this Saturday.
He's competing this Saturday at Sambo, he just said. That is crazy to me.
Yep.
But very emotional, Stevie, very unorthodox. I didn't have a chance to ask him about that, how unorthodox his style is. But, man, what a match by Emanuel Stevie Arzola.
And most definitely one to watch in the lightweight division, especially with this type of skill set, because you stated it at the beginning of the fight, but aside from maybe Manuel Rodriguez, who's had fight with, who's already in the UFC, you don't see many Mexicans who have Sambo credentials at all, ever.
No, you don't. Glad to talk to Stevie a little bit. I didn't like seeing Gael that badly beat up there, but man, what a win by Emanuel Steve Arzola. Yeah, he seemed a little bit beat up, a little bit down on himself, very tired. Both of these men that laid it all out in this matchup.
Yeah, even at the end of the fight, you saw Arzola with his bucket on his corner, just spitting out his saliva.
Blood. Yeah.
And that's because he was just tired. He was trying to let something out from his body. And I think that was a clear symbol and representation of how he felt after the fight. We are seeing it on the replays as well. Arzola landing knees to the body, landing great strikes, looking for unorthodox techniques, unorthodox takedowns, and getting the job done. That suplex, Salvi, was probably the main highlight from this fight.
Yeah. Up next, we have a very, very important, interesting matchup. Matias, the ice cream father, Molero, Papá de los helados, versus Ricardo Hurtado.
Yeah, Matias, who's 4-2, all finishes, 100% finish rate, and Ricardo Hurtado, who's a grappler, heavily focused on his jiu-jitsu, so we are going to see another classic grappler versus striker match.
Molero, not a slouch on the ground either. Molero,
not at all.
Very long fighter, very lanky fighter. Will probably try to keep Ricardo at the end of that jab all night. Very Sean O'Malley-esque for this division. Very long, very lanky, as we said. I'm very excited, Iker, to see Matias Molero, to be honest with you. He's a very exciting fighter. He brings it, and he likes to show out. And he has a very long body, as we said, for this division, and he's a very competent striker.
And I think without the weight cut that he had to do to make the flyweight limit, as a bantamweight, he's going to have much more success in this division. He has a 74.4-inch reach with his arms. He's very long, as Salvi stated, very lanky, and he's very, very good on the feet. A heavily focused kickboxer with great kicks, great straight punches. So we shall see if he's able to live up to the moniker, the ice cream fighter, that in the Venezuelan slang basically means that you're the cream of the crop, the best of the best. It's not related to ice cream, as many of you may probably think it is. He's not really an ice cream father. He's just a guy that believes in himself, and that's why he calls himself El Papá de los Helados.
Yeah, I had a very, I don't know if I'm going to be sharing too much of this moment, but I had a TMI moment. I was actually at the stall when Matias came in, and I said, hey, I have a question for you, bro. As we're both peeing, doing our necessities. He says, yeah, what's up? I go, what does your nickname mean? And he tells me, El Papá de los Helados. He says, the point of the train. He says it's a common phrase in Venezuela where El Papá de los Helados, or the ice cream father, is like El Papá de los Pelados. Like, I am the best of the best. I am everybody's dad. I am better than everybody else. So I found it interesting because when you first hear the nickname, the ice cream father, you don't really know what that means. It's an interesting nickname, so I had to ask him. Maybe not the best moment, Iker, to ask this question, but regardless, I got my answer.
I mean, at the end of the day, you were the one that talked to him about it, so I had to ask you, Salvi. I really had to, especially for the audience that is listening to us at home from YouTube. We see the tail of the tape. Matias Molero, 25 years of age. Ricardo Hurtado, 30 years old. Molero, who has a southpaw stance. Hurtado with a switch stance, 4-2 against 2-3. Second Venezuelan fighter on the card against a Mexican fighter, and we're ready for the promo for this fantastic bantamweight showdown coming up next.
Ya estamos gallos, ya viene el segundo pelea de la noche.
Matías Molero, el papá de los helados, contra Ricardo Hurtado.
One comes with jiu-jitsu specialist. The other has reach and striking capabilities. Papa de Helados versus Hurtado up next.
I love the implementation of those promos. Mac, Marco, and Joe promoting the fighters like they should, as they should, because this matchup is absolutely fantastic. I cannot emphasize how great this fight is going to be. Sal.
I am very excited, as I mentioned, for this fight. I'm really excited to see Matias Molero. As we said, not to cut out Ricardo Hurtado, but Matias has a more interesting style. He has more experience in the Mexican circuit, and there you can see him. He is a very, how do we say this? Quirky fighter. A lot of personality from Matias Molero.
Definitely, and when you see his wins, all of them have come via finish in the first round. Nonetheless, 2 knockouts, 2 submissions. Coming from Venezuela, he has Caracas tattooed on his abdomen. So after 6 pro fights at flyweight, he has fully committed to make a proper and permanent move up to 135 pounds. What do you think of this?
As we said, very competent fighter, equal rates submission to knockout ratio for Matias Molero. He also comes from the camp, as we mentioned before, the same camp as Renzo Aldave, Draco Cusillo. Very, very hard camp, very aggressive fighters who've had a good show out.
Yeah, Real Fighters Mexico, that gym has been very well represented tonight. And maybe he's from Venezuela, but he has lived in Mexico since he was 15 years old. Since he was a teenager, he started his amateur career here in Mexico competing for JFL, and he also had a 100% finish rate as an amateur with a 4-0 record.
As we mentioned, Lux experience, JFL experience.
Budo as well.
Budo experience. He's fought in all the top organizations in Mexico. And tonight, making his MFL debut.
Yes, sir. One thing is certain, when Molero is in the cage, if he wins, it's going to be spectacular.
As we mentioned, very tall and long for this division.
Crazy to think that he made the flyweight limit, honestly. Just
Yeah.
looking at him right now, I really
Yeah.
don't know how he did it.
Yeah, we were seeing him around the Fighter Hotel this week, and we were both like, how does this guy make 135, right?
Yep.
Here we have Ricardo Hurtado fighting out of Monterrey, obviously.
When you talk about guys that are from Monterrey who are heavy fan favorites, Ricardo is one of those guys, and that's due to him competing in Lux and MMA Mexico before, two promotions that also carry a lot of weight here in Monterrey.
There we see Irving Peinado, a well-known grappler in the Mexican circuit from Team RT, Relentless Tribe. I also saw Nicolas Ver in his corner. They're a very jiu-jitsu heavy team, as is Ricardo's style. Ricardo has some EBI experience where he won a matchup against a well-known competitor. I can't remember right now. I think he beat Marcelo Cohen, who is a very accomplished grappler. As I mentioned, IEBI win under his belt via armbar. He has competed for Lux here in Mexico as well. And tonight, as well as Matias Molero, making his MFL debut.
Two MFL debuts on the same fight, and although his record may not look that impressive at 2-3, he has always fought and competed against top level opposition since his pro debut. Ricardo is the hometown boy, and he's defending his soil against the second Venezuelan fighter on this card as well. He has great finishing instincts. He's a grappler, heavily focused on his jiu-jitsu. So, again, Molero is competent on the ground, but I think it's fair to say he's more competent on the feet.
Yes, definitely giving Ricardo the grappling advantage in this matchup.
We're ready, David. Are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the Bantamweight division. Damas y caballeros, esta pelea es a 3 asaltos en la categoría de peso gallo. Presentando primero, en la esquina azul, un peleador de artes marciales mixtas, con un récord profesional de 4 victorias y 2 derrotas, midiendo 1 metro con 80 centímetros, pesando 135 libras. Presenting now, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record of 4 wins, 2 losses. He stands 5 feet, 11 inches tall, weighing at 135 pounds. Fighting out of Caracas, Venezuela, Matías, el papá de los helados, Molero. Y su oponente en la esquina roja, un especialista en Jiu-Jitsu, con un récord profesional de 2 victorias y 3 derrotas, midiendo 1 metro con 78 centímetros, pesando 135 libras. Presenting now, fighting out of the red corner, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter, holding a professional record of 2 wins, 3 losses. He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing at 135 pounds. Fighting out of Escobedo, Nuevo León, México, Ricardo Hurtado. El referee encargado, the referee in charge, Fernando Salas.
Ya conocen el reglamento. Hagan una pelea limpia y escúchenme todo el tiempo. Choquen los guantes si quieren. Esquinas.
Fernando Salas gives the instructions, and we're ready for this amazing bantamweight showdown between Matias, the ice cream father Molero, against Ricardo Hurtado. You see in the purple trunks, Matias Molero, and in the black trunks, Ricardo Hurtado. Everyone's ready, the commission is ready, the referee is ready, fighters are ready, and we're ready for the poetry in motion to kick off. Molero getting the center of the octagon immediately, looking for that tip kick, and Hurtado gets the takedown.
Hurtado catches that tip kick right away, going into Molero's back. Molero trying to use the cage to defend his back. Ricardo picking him up. Molero throwing some nice elbows up and downward. Beautiful takedown by Ricardo Hurtado. Let's see if Molero can get back up on his feet. Ricardo right away throws a hook in. pushes off the cage. Very Cade Rotulo-esque. I don't see if he's under the chin, but imminent threat on the back right away by Ricardo Hurtado. If Molero doesn't defend that second hand immediately, he might be in real trouble here, Iker.
He is in trouble. Both men are not sweaty at all. This fight just started, so this is a terrible position for Molero.
This is when the grappling exchanges are most dangerous, when you're both dry, no sweat, no blood. Chokes come on quick.
Molero defending the arm very well, using both arms, as you said. 2-on-1.
Yeah, Molero doing a good job here of defending, trying to stay in this matchup. Ricardo very aggressive right away, really quick on his back attack. You can really see that jiu-jitsu level training out of RT here in Monterrey with the Peinado brothers. Another attempt. I think it might be on, Iker. I think it might be on. Seems like Molero is in very big trouble here.
He's grimacing.
Not quite behind the head, but it is under the chin. Molero has to, he has to defend that second hand.
Very patient with the defense.
Well, you have to be. You can't go crazy. If not, you will get submitted. Molero staying patient, staying composed, exactly what he needs to do. Fighting off those hands. Oh, it's under. But he needs to keep fighting that second hand. If Ricardo cannot bring that second hand behind Molero's back, it's going to be very difficult for him to choke him with one hand. And now Molero carrying him forward in order for Ricardo to fall off. But Ricardo staying cinched on with that body triangle. But Molero crossing the arm over, that is the correct defense to do from here. Ricardo relentless on his back attack.
And that backpack is tight. He's not letting off that body triangle.
And it tires both men out a little. It tires Ricardo's legs more from here. But Molero is carrying Ricardo on his back for now 2.5 plus minutes.
Yeah,
So
since the first 20 seconds, he got the back and he has not let up at all.
Yeah, it's not a fun spot to be carrying someone on your back. It also tires out Ricardo, as I mentioned, but yeah, it might tire out Molero a bit more.
And that Petr Yan defense with the elbows is becoming more popular after he did it against Murav.
I think it works better when it is hand hugging you.
Yeah, with the body lock. Yeah.
Than to the legs. To the legs, it doesn't really do a lot of damage. Very nice job by Ricardo kicking off the cage in order to unbalance Matias Molero and wind up on his back. Matias has his feet on the cage. Let's see if he's able to use his feet on the cage in order to turn and escape. Seems like Ricardo still has that body lock really tight on Matias's body. Matias turning very nice into Molero's guard, but now, into Ricardo's guard, but now we got to watch out for Ricardo's bottom guard attacks. It seems like a punch got through by Molero. He might be hurt. Ricardo might be hurt, but he's attacking a leg. Molero has to be really careful here. Very intelligent by Molero.
And we've seen Molero finishing fights with those hammer fists because his arms are very long and he has a lot of power with those hammer fists and those ground pound strikes.
Now Molero on the back looking to rain down some damage on Ricardo. Let's see if he can flatten him out from here. As we said, Matias is not a stranger to the ground.
Not at all.
Very nice job by Molero throwing some damage. Got to watch out for the back right there. You can't elbow the spine, but very heavy elbows to the side of the head by Matias Molero.
Hurtado is only covering up. The referee is very close, and it is over.
That is it. Matias, el papá de los helados, Molero, finishing it in the first round.
And keeping that 100% finish rate in the first round alive, he does it once again. What a great comeback.
Yeah, Ricardo visibly hurt here, Iker, right in front of us. He took a lot of damage, a lot of heavy elbows from the side by Matias, el papá de los helados, Molero. Matias not being very sportsman-like with Ricardo saying some things to him, dancing in front of him. I don't know if they had previous beef, but yeah, seems like Molero, Ricardo. I hope we don't have a situation here on our hands. Molero apologizes, hugs Ricardo. Okay.
I think it's all good now.
You know, sometimes after the fight, things get heated. People are excited. Adrenaline is flowing. It's normal to see that, but it's good to see that they calm down, they shake hands, everything's good.
And living up to the nickname as well, El Papá de los Helados. But we see the replay right now.
Yeah.
Those ground and pound strikes were very heavy, especially from top position. Then he takes the back, and then he advances the position with those elbows, damaging the face of Hurtado, the side of the head as well. And I mean, that just speaks volumes to the power that he possesses, even with the ground and pound strikes.
Yeah, there we see very heavy side elbows by Matias Molero, and just flattened Ricardo out, gave referee no other choice but to stop this contest.
And we see the celebration. He was ecstatic. He was really hyped about it. And how couldn't he be after he escaped a horrible back take, a backpack? It looked like he was in trouble, but now we are ready for the official result.
Damas y caballeros, el referee Fernando Salas detuvo el combate a los 4 minutos con 26 segundos del primer round. Ladies and gentlemen, the referee Fernando Salas stopped the fight at 4 minutes, 26 seconds of the first round. Declaring the winner by TKO, Matías, el papá de los helados, Molero.
Matías Molero, el papá de los helados. Un aplauso para Matías Molero. Matías, dime, al principio de la pelea te tuvo en muchos problemas, salió muy agresivo, te tenía con la jaula, pero mostraste mucha compostura, mostraste tu experiencia, te mantuviste tranquilo para salir de ese ataque de la espalda. Platícame un poco más qué pasó.
Bueno, primero que nada, toda gloria a Dios, viejo. Toda gloria a Dios, a Cristo mi Salvador, viejo. Nada, el único que carga la mochila es el único que sabe el contenido de la misma. Hace 4 semanas, 5 semanas, me rompí la mano derecha, viejo. Fractura completa de la primer falange del dedo anular. Hace 2 semanas no podía ni cerrar el puño, carnal. Y aquí estoy, poniendo un show y noqueando en el primer round como se lo dije a todo el mundo. Gracias a mi sponsor, a mi carnal Miguel que hace esto realidad, hermano. A mi fisioterapeuta Luis, que no mames, en 2 semanas y media hicimos lo imposible. No podía ni cerrar la puta mano hace 2 semanas, viejo. Ni podía ni cerrar la mano, carnal. Y aquí estoy, yo no me rajo, corté peso, no dejé de entrenar. Gracias a mi familia, mis carnales de Oaxaca, toda mi familia de Oaxaca, a mi novia, mami, te dedico los cabos preciosa. Les dije lo que voy a hacer y lo voy a prensar a todos, hermano. Marco, el que sea, viejo, cuando quiera. Yo tengo jiu-jitsu, lucha, striking, lo que sea, carnal. El que sea, cuando sea, papá. Mark y yo, se los aseguré, viejo, se los dije, no acabo en el primer round. Mano, voces, se los dije, yo tengo todo, para todos, cuando sea. Y al que le arda, escúcheme algo. Todas mis artes marciales son 100% mexicanas, viejo. Yo me pago aquí a representar Ciudad de México y Oaxaca. Yo no soy solo Caracas, Venezuela. Soy Ciudad de México y soy Oaxaca. Mis artes marciales son 100% mexicanas, viejo. Y aquí estoy representando a México y a Venezuela, carajo. Vamos para encima, el que sea, cuando sea, viejo. Dios los bendiga, carnales. Y recuérdense que no hay sueño grande para soñador inmenso, mamá. Lo estás viendo, lo sé, te amo. Es por ti. Prometí que más nunca me volvías a ver golpeado. Y mira, otra vez me vuelvo a bajar limpio. Te amo.
Señoras y señores, su ganador, Matías, el papá de los helados, Molero.
That's one way to cut a promo for Matías, el papá de los helados, Molero, telling Mark, Joe, Marco Beltran, I'm ready for anyone, anytime, any place. I fractured my hand less than 2 weeks ago. I had it broken, couldn't even close my fists. And look, I am here getting my 5th first round finish in a row. We see the replays. We see he had the back taken. He was in a terrible position with the backpack. He defended it really well. It looked like it was the beginning of the end at this point when they went to the ground. But Molero survived, got on top, and started raining those heavy ground and pound strikes with that right hand that was fractured less than 2 weeks ago. Incredible to just think about that. He had to go through a weight cut, and he said it himself. I'm not only Venezuelan, I have trained my mixed martial arts here in Mexico. My entire MMA journey has been here in Mexico City, in Oaxaca, and he showed out tonight, delivering an incredible performance. And if Joe, Mac, and Marco are looking for a future title contender, I think Matias Molero is the guy. He's really talented. He sells himself really well. He's good on the mic. What else is there to be said? about El Papá de los Helados. This was an incredible performance. Those side elbows closed out the show, as we can see in the replays right now. And this man is on a mission right now. He has had 3 first-round finishes in a row. And man, coming up next, we have another incredible fight in the flyweight division, featuring a former foe from El Papá de los Helados, Luis Power Solórzano, who fought El Papá de los Helados in Budocento. Salvi, that was a great promo.
Another big rant. I wanted to ask him who he wanted next, but the crowd was not enjoying Matias Molero's long speech after the fight. I get it. These guys are hyped up right after they win. I just let them, express themselves. I wanted to ask a few questions, but I felt it went on a little too long. The crowd was getting a little desperate, so I had to cut it short there after he said what he wanted to say.
Well, I think he said enough.
Yes.
I think he said what he needed to. He talked to Joe, he talked to Mac, he talked to Marco. He said anyone, anytime, any place.
Yes.
Just put me next to a title opportunity if it arrives. And I think he has fully earned it, because 5 first-round finishes, that promo as well.
Yeah.
This guy talks the talk and walks the walk.
Hey, I really liked what he said. You can really tell he really loves Mexico.
Yep.
And that he's embraced fighting out of here, being here. He gave a huge shout out. He said, my techniques are Mexican techniques. I learned my techniques here in this country. Very grateful to have lived out his career in the Mexican circuit. Oh, there we see a little illegal elbow right on the spine. Interesting enough, he said he had a broken hand. That makes his win even more impressive.
Much more, especially it being 2 weeks ago, but we're ready for this promo for Solórzano against Bravo.
See Luis Power Solórzano and Alejandro Bravo Jaguar, 2 very experienced fighters in the Mexican circuit, Iker.
Yeah, 2 guys who have had a lot of experience, even close to championships for Bravo in Lux. So now we are actually ready for the...
Bueno, chicos, ya estamos por la tercera pelea de la noche. Luis Power Solórzano, un boxeador de Tepito en la Ciudad de México,
Un peleador con muchas habilidades en su striking,
contra Alejandro Jaguar Bravo, un luchador judoka de San Luis Potosí.
con un background en el wrestling nacional.
Do not wait, this is going to be a fucking good one. Power vs. Bravo is up next.
Man, I'm so hyped for this fight. Truly.
Yeah, we're really getting into very experienced Mexican fighters that have been around for a very long time in a lot of Mexican leagues, as is Luis Power Solórzano.
Ya, chicos, viene.
Jaguar is where here we see Alejandro Jaguar Bravo. A lot of Lux experience. He's making his MFL debut tonight. He's also had amateur IMAF experience, where Mexico tends to do really well in the World Amateur competition. Although he is coming off a 3-fight losing skid right now, all the people he's lost to have been championship caliber.
Definitely. Luis Ivan Rodriguez, Georgie Calvo, and Axel Osuna are the guys that he has lost to. All of them title contenders for Lux Fight League. And Bravo came up to Lux 5-0 to a title opportunity against Georgie Calvo. He came up short, but this guy is always delivering shows for the people that see him inside the octagon. He is a championship level caliber fighter, and he's looking to turn things around in this new organization and prove that he's one of the best flyweight prospects in all of Mexico.
He has his hands full tonight, facing off against the always dangerous Luis Power Solórzano, Iker, a very crisp boxer that we all know really well from fighting in Mexico a very long time.
Very, very long time. He trains out of Tepito. That's where he's from. And you know that if you train your boxing in Tepito, that really does mean something.
Tepito, Barrio Bravo, one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Mexico City to fight out of from. So if you're a fighter coming from that neighborhood, yeah, you're a pretty tough guy.
And we see Bravo, who's a very well-rounded fighter, entering the cage. But we are going to now see Luis Power Solórzano, who's also a very well-rounded fighter, but we can definitely say that his main skill set is the boxing.
Yeah, beautiful boxing. Always showcased by Luis Power Solórzano. As we said, loves to go to the body. Beautiful combinations. Beautiful stance and footwork. There we see him shadow boxing a little bit. Just a little taste of what you will see tonight from Luis Power Solórzano. Getting really hyped with his Limp Bizkit walkout.
How can you not get hyped with Limp Bizkit, man? Honestly. Such a good song choice for Power.
Yeah.
As we said, very skilled boxer, one of the most entertaining flyweight fighters in all of Mexican MMA, a really humble killer who always delivers spectacular fights with every single performance, and who also already fought for MFL in MFL 1 against Luis Iron Cabrera. But his last win was actually in Budocento against El Papá de los Helados, who just won in the last fight of the night.
Yeah, we were watching that fight last night, Iker, and you just see Luis Solórzano. He's so technically savvy. He's really tight in his technique. And we saw that in him dealing with the range of Matias Molero. He did such a great job to utilize his boxing with a much lankier and longer opponent than himself.
Yeah, he works his jiu-jitsu game as well at Amphibio Jiu-Jitsu in Mexico City with Julio Cordova, and he trains his MMA grappling with one of the former foes of Matias Molero in Budocento, Irving Bolt Campos, who's one of the best grapplers in all of Mexico as well. He just came off from winning King of the Mat.
Yeah, and we mentioned he's only faced, his losses are to really high-level people like Alessandro Costa, who's in the UFC. He lost Jorge Calvo, who's the former Lux champion, who almost broke the record or tied the record for the longest championship defense in Lux.
With Psycho.
Yeah, and so, yeah, very, very high-level fighter, Luis Power Solórzano. Very excited to see him showcase his skills here tonight at MFL 3.
We're ready for this featured bout of the evening to begin, and we're ready to hear the official announcement from our own announcer, David Guevara. Let's go, David.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the flyweight division. Damas y caballeros, esta pelea es a 3 asaltos en la categoría de peso mosca. Presentando primero, en la esquina azul, un peleador de artes marciales mixtas, con un récord profesional de 5 victorias y 3 derrotas, midiendo 1 metro con 66 centímetros, pesando 125 libras. Presenting now, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist, holding a professional record of 5 wins, 3 losses. He stands 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighing at 125 pounds. Fighting out of San Luis Potosí, México, Alexandro, el Jaguar Bravo. Y su oponente en la esquina roja, un peleador de artes marciales mixtas con un récord profesional de 12 victorias, 6 derrotas y 1 empate, midiendo 1 metro con 64 centímetros, pesando 125 libras. Presenting now, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record of 12 wins, 6 losses, 1 draw. He stands 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighing at 125 pounds. Fighting out of Ciudad de México, Luis Power Solórzano. El referee encargado, the referee in charge, Moisés Ruiz.
Ya conocen el reglamento, sigan mis indicaciones y protéjanse muy bien en todo momento. Hagan una pelea limpia. Choquen guantes, esquinas.
This might be the highest level fight on the card tonight, Iker.
Definitely.
Easily, hands down.
Yep. 2 great flyweight fighters from Mexico.
And if we know anything about flyweight, they're fast and they bring it.
Yes, sir.
Here we go. Luis Power Solórzano versus Alejandro Jaguar Bravo. Starting out quickly with a big leg kick by Luis Solórzano.
The feints from Solórzano, really effective each time out, because all of his opponents are always heavily worried about his hands.
Yeah, Power having that hand out to measure distance.
Yep.
Jaguar going to look in to close that distance, land that big takedown.
Feinting the low kick as well. Solorzano, he has him backed up against the fence, and that's where he does his best work.
Yeah, but I've never seen Luis have that hand sticking out like that for this long. And typically they do it for a moment or two, but Luis is just keeping his hand out there.
Yeah.
There we see a combination attempt by Alejandro Bravo, but Luis is already outside before he can get in there and try and land those punches.
A lot of reads so far.
Yeah, typically, you know, in these weight classes, since they're very fast, they like to have a good read before they really start going in.
Especially knowing that one mistake from each man could be very costly.
There we see that big takedown I was talking about from Jaguar. He manages to land it. Luis immediately savvy, walks back to the cage, trying to get back on his feet. He needs to use that forearm to get Jaguar's face out from the outside. And there we see overhook by Luis, trying to get up on his feet, but Jaguar is keeping that hook, trying to trap that leg in between his legs. They're like in a weird position here because Luis is on his knee and Jaguar is also on his knees. They're finally standing up against the cage.
Looking for the double under.
Yeah, I think here what Jaguar needs to look for is to clasp his hands around Luis's waist or try to get in on a double under, as you said, but Power Solorzano doing a good job of keeping him away, fighting those hands. Finally in on a leg. Let's see if this can lead to a takedown. Looked like Power was trying to snatch on a guillotine, but no, not the best idea. Seemed like Jaguar had the better position. Here we see Jaguar popping out behind Luis's back.
Trying to hook him in with the left leg.
Yeah, he's trying to trip him. There he's finally able to. Power staying on his knees here in this position.
He has to be careful of not giving out his back because that's Jaguar's bread and butter.
Yeah. Yeah, Jaguar definitely looking to jump on that back as soon as he can. Power trying to see, he's really like pushing his elbow up against the cage. He's going to try and slide that elbow up to the cage to try to put his back on the cage, but before he can even do that, Jaguar is already on him. Takes him down. Another trip by Jaguar, but Luis immediately starts fighting to get back up on his feet.
The referee's close to the action, telling both fighters to do a bit more.
Yeah, I like the referees have been very strict with the action progression. I can't remember what fight before this one we saw them get stood up. But yeah, I like the referees being strict with the action.
Completely agree, because in some positions it can get stagnant.
Yeah, they can stall out the position a bit. But here, I don't think it's the case. I think
Jaguar
is trying to work to either keep Luis on the ground or take us back from standing. And Luis he's just defending.
And defending well.
Yeah. Yeah, but I did not expect Jaguar to be able to control Luis this much up against the cage and landed that takedown that he did. And Luis immediately jumped back to try and get his back up on the cage.
This just shows how high the level of opposition has been for Bravo in the last 3 fights.
Yeah, I knew this would be an even match somewhat, unless it got kept on the feet, but Luis is doing a great job of defending here. Jaguar dumps him really nice. Luis looks like he's going for that guillotine. Not enough time for him to really have a significant threat on that neck. Jaguar is out anyway. And into the round. Round one, Alejandro Bravo, Jaguar, clearly, by that wrestling control up against the cage. Dominated Luis Power Solorzano up against the cage.
Yeah, clear control on the ground with the grappling, even in the clinch next to the fence. Bravo is doing what he needs to do. He needs to press the action, not let Power Solorzano be the one dictating the tempo, and he's doing a great job so far. Here we see the action, the replay. against the fence, in the clinch, and on the ground with those knee strikes, with the ground and pound. He's doing a great job thus far, but Power is always dangerous, and there's 2 rounds left.
Yes, just because Jaguar dominated this round doesn't mean we've seen the last fight back from Luis Power Solorzano. I expect him to come out much more aggressive with his boxing in this second round, trying to really switch the tempo of this match and the momentum into his favor.
The referee is telling both fighters to get their mouth guards on and to be ready for the second round to kick off.
Jaguar looking really confident. I would not be surprised if he just comes out and shoots right away on Luis Power Solorzano.
And now Power is the one that has to think about the level switches constantly, because at the beginning of the fight with the feints, we saw Bravo hesitate a bit with the low kicks, but now it's the other way around.
Big winding hook by Luis Power Solorzano. Put him off balance.
Bravo switching stances as well as Power constantly, giving him a lot to think about with the feints, with the movement, with the footwork, and Solorzano keeping that left hand really low, just like in the beginning of the first round.
I also think that low lead hand is to bait Jaguar in to try and land that big
pullback
hook
counter,
like he did.
yep.
Exactly. And then once he comes in, Power is ready with that big right hand. See?
Yep.
See, that hand is low, but Power moves back. Doesn't really land for Luis Power, for Jaguar, sorry. And yeah, I think he's ready to counter that nice body shot.
He's setting up traps with the right hand. Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Beautiful body kick. Doing great work to the body this round, Power.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, Power has a jiu-jitsu tattoo right on his left shoulder. Here we see the shot from Jaguar. Let's see if Luis is much more prepared this round. Tries to go for that guillotine. I would not recommend when the other fighter is as competent in wrestling as Jaguar to jump on that guillotine unless you really have a hold on that neck. Because if you're trying to like reach and grab that neck, most likely you're not going to be able to wrap it tight enough, and you're just going to wind up on the bottom and what we're seeing right now. You know?
Yeah, it reminds me of Dustin Poirier in his last fight at the corner telling him, don't jump the gilly. And he tried it one last time, and he was close, but
because, you know,
difficult.
when somebody's experienced in MMA, it's very hard to, you know, unless they really don't see it, unless you completely surprise them with that guillotine, snatching it, it's very hard to finish it.
Yeah, even for guys like Charles Oliveira, it's hard. So.
Yeah, usually you see it when a guy was not expecting it. Sometimes they grab it standing. You see it a lot more. But on the bottom like that, like jumping on it when the guy's trying to take you down, it's not that likely it happens. The crowd not having this fight at all. We kind of oversold it. It's not performing as well as we thought it would. But
this is what happens
in
MMA.
This is part of the game, you know. Yep. Alejandro Jaguar Bravo using his tools to win this matchup as best he can, and that's what he's doing. He's controlling Power Solorzano on the ground. He's throwing punches. Like there's no reason to stand them up right now. This crowd is booing. They may not like it, but Alejandro Jaguar is winning this matchup.
And at the end of the day, this sport is called mixed martial arts. If this was boxing, if this was Muay Thai, if this was striking, boxing, kickboxing, whatever it is on the feet, you can understand why the people would be booing. But this is MMA, and this is completely valid, and Bravo is just following the game plan.
Exactly. Now we see some shots from Bravo, but it's also, you know, how Power is defending the positions. It makes it very stagnant. It makes it a very tight matchup because he's staying in positions where Jaguar cannot deal a whole amount of damage, except like right there on the body, which, yeah, it's going to hurt, but it's not going to take Luis out of this matchup.
Yeah, and contrary to what we saw with Arzuela and Resendiz, perhaps, where the grappling scrambles were constantly changing, they were constantly reversing the positions, reverting the positions, but right now we're just seeing Power kind of let Bravo take over with the grappling.
Well, it's not so much he's letting him take over. He's just staying alive in these exchanges where Alejandro Bravo is dominating. And Luis can really, like, just sort of stay out of trouble as much as he can. And Jaguar is just in a very dominant position where it's not going to be as easy for Luis to get him out of these positions or escape these positions. And as we said in the match before, as both fighters aren't as high level as both these guys, it's harder with a much higher level competitor to get out of these positions, as we are seeing Luis having to deal with this problem.
And Power Solorzano was looking for the bicycle kick like Alfredo Adame.
There we see an arm triangle attempt by Jaguar, but does not have enough time to finish it.
And the crowd is not happy at all.
The crowd is not happy with the development of this fight whatsoever. I can understand, you know, it's been a very stagnant control on the ground by Jaguar, and Luis does not know how to stop Jaguar's grappling dominance.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. I shouldn't have said that he was allowing him to take over, but I meant he's not showing the resources that he usually shows in these exchanges.
He does not have an answer for Jaguar's top pressure and control from these positions. And Jaguar is landing a lot of damage to the body. That's why the referee is not standing him up. You see big shots, big elbows right there underneath the ribs.
And those
downward elbows, those hurt. Those
yeah.
hurt. Jaguar is not pitter-pattering those elbows on Luis's body. He's trying to hurt Luis. And let's see if Luis can create enough momentum on the feet where he can get Jaguar into any sort of trouble, because this is his last chance to take over in this fight and win.
He needs to give it his all entirely. Throw the kitchen sink at him.
Yes. And we see.
Trying a flying knee right there.
Trying to mix it
Beautiful
up.
body kick. Yep.
Yeah, Jaguar is not doing a bad job on the feet either. Jaguar obviously much more confident, knowing that if he gets into any trouble on the feet, he can just shoot that takedown and have Luis where he wants him.
And this is what has happened in the last 2 rounds as well. It begins in the feet, and then when Bravo sees the opportunity to take Luis down without much resistance, he will do so.
Yeah, let's see if Luis, because Luis right now, he was playing, you know, trying to pull Alejandro Bravo in. There we see a clashing flying knee, trying to pull in Jaguar to land that big cross on him, but the time for that is over. He needs to be more aggressive. He needs to be the one hunting down Jaguar on the feet.
Yeah, and Power is a bit more crunched down. I think that it's a product of the damage he received to the body in the last round as well.
Yeah, definitely. He might even have a broken or injured rib, and he is trying to protect that area with his guard. You can see that.
Yeah, the elbows are really close to the ribs.
Yeah, a big kick from Jaguar would not be good for that area. There you see the feint and immediately shoots down. But again, Luis trying to cinch up that guillotine is not going to help him to defend the takedown from Jaguar.
Yeah, definitely not a good answer to his problems right now.
Jaguar passing the guard on side control here and going to look to damage that side area of the body of Luis once again.
And also looking for the head right now. He's mixing things up. And at the end of the day, the crowd is not liking it, but Bravo is doing what he needs to do to win.
There we see some wrist control by Jaguar, but he's grabbing the glove, so kind of illegal.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, he's grabbing the glove. You need to grab the wrist. You can grab the wrist of the glove, but you cannot grab the palm part of the glove area.
Yeah, right where it says your cow, that's where he was grabbing it.
Well, right below MFL is okay, where the tape is okay. Right where it says MFL, that's where you get into the no-no area. Not very tight arm triangle. He's very high up.
So Lozano says he's okay to the
Yeah,
rest.
no, he's not on Luis's neck and is not nearly tight enough for him to finish it. He is almost on Luis's cheek. He would need to have his bicep much more near Luis's neck. The referee checking, but no, it's not nearly tight enough.
Yeah,
you can see Power's neck completely uncovered from the side. Here, it's starting to get a little tighter, but not quite enough, I don't think. Let's see. I can't see the other side, but here it looks like it's much locked up. No, it's not on the neck. It's more on the jaw. It might neck crank Luis, but it's not going to submit him or choke him out. See, he would need to be much lower, and the arm would need to be much more. Yeah, see, he's giving a thumbs up. The arm would need to be much more ran through the neck, which it's not, and now he's on the back.
But what this does is it tires him out not only physically but mentally. You know, him being on top the entire 3 rounds for Power.
Oh yeah,
it's a really difficult mental hurdle to overcome.
Here we have them right in front of us. We see Power clinging onto Luis, gonna try and trip him or take him down. And there we see the takedown.
And we saw him right next to us. He was smiling. He's having fun in there, Bravo.
Yeah. I mean, Jaguar is doing his job at the end of the day. He came here. He controlled Luis Power Solórzano, a very dangerous fighter. Coming off 3 losses, you just want to assure your victory.
And especially against a guy like Power who's coming off really good momentum.
Especially against a very dangerous fighter like Luis Power Solórzano. He completely shut down Luis's game, completely shut down any offensive Luis could mount in this matchup, and he just completely took over and controlled with his grappling.
And this is a beautiful display of dominance for Bravo in his MFL debut, because dominating Power like this on the ground is not an easy feat at all.
It's not easy. We really hyped up Luis Power for a reason. His grappling and ground game is not low level. So props to Alejandro Jaguar Bravo to being able to do this to Luis Power Solórzano, a really high level fighter.
And not only for 1 round or 2 rounds, but the entire 3 rounds. So
yeah, the crowd is not going to be happy. I know as soon as it ends, we're going to hear all the boos, and there we go.
We heard some applauses, but yeah.
Very scattered. I'm going to leave you guys go up there, talk to Alejandro Jaguar Bravo.
Yeah, a clear 30-27, I feel, for Alejandro Jaguar Bravo. We're going to see some of the replays, but at the end of the day, it was the same tale and story for the entirety of those 15 minutes. Just Jaguar Bravo dominating the fight on the ground, taking over with his grappling, with his jiu-jitsu, and Solórzano, who tried the guillotine plenty of times, but I think that was his demise as well.
Yeah, we can see the mark, the redness on Luis Power Solórzano's back just by the pressure of Jaguar driving him up against the cage. You can really see on the right side of Luis's back how red it is, and that's just from Jaguar driving into him, pushing him into the cage. So, not the most fun fight we've had tonight, but a dominant victory for Alejandro Jaguar Bravo.
And back on the win column now, moving up to 6-3. First win in the MFL octagon, in the MFL cage. And with a guy like Luis Solórzano in front of you, getting a victory like this is always gratifying. So we're going to hear the official results and announcement from David Guevara in a second. And we are ready for the announcement. Go, David.
Damas y caballeros, después de 3 asaltos, vamos a las tarjetas de los jueces. Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. All 3 judges score this contest 30-27 for the winner by unanimous decision, Alexandro El Jaguar Bravo.
Jaguar, estoy aquí con Jaguar Bravo. Jaguar, una victoria muy dominante. ¿Cómo te sientes después de romper esa mala rachita que traías aquí en tu debut en MFL?
Sabes, cada pelea siempre me ha enseñado algo. El MMA no solo es arriba, también hay muchísimas acciones. A veces yo sé que nos gusta el intercambio como mexicanos, pero creo que debes ir a lo seguro, de demostrar qué es lo que estás haciendo, por qué lo haces. Y bueno, pues muchas gracias por la invitación MFL. Gracias y aquí estamos a la orden. El que me pongan cuando quieran, donde quieran, aquí estoy.
Jaguar, como mencionas, ¿no? Tú te tienes que ir a la segura, tu trabajo es ganar esta pelea y fue lo que hiciste esta noche. ¿Qué esperabas de Luis Power Solórzano y esta era tu estrategia desde un principio, llevarlo al suelo y controlarlo?
Mira, yo a Power lo veía hace 5 años desde la sala de la casa de mi papá, que por ahí está. Yo lo veía peleando a Power y yo recuerdo que alguna vez dije voy a pelear en esa categoría y me voy a enfrentar contra alguno de ellos. El día de hoy lejos de sentir miedo, siento un gran honor de eso y pues bueno, a seguir trabajando y lo que venga, ¿no?
¿Y qué quisieras si te tenemos aquí de vuelta en MFL? ¿Qué sigue para ti? ¿Qué quisieras aquí? ¿A quién te quisieras enfrentar?
Yo estoy a la orden, el que me digan, por ahí Marco hizo la publicación en Insta y yo le dije, yo jalo, carnal. Me dijo, va, pues es contra él, sobres. Yo lo que me pongan, cuando quieran, aquí estoy.
Señoras y señores, Jaguar Bravo!
A humble, noble, and confident killer gets a victory. He's back in winning ways. Alejandro Jaguar Bravo. Just like he said, sometimes here in Mexico we love the exchanges on the feet. But here in MMA, in the octagon, it's about demonstrating your evolution, how much you have evolved. And Bravo just shows that he has evolved levels beyond and above with this performance, saying 5 years ago, I was seeing Solórzano with my father in my TV screen, and I said, I want to fight those type of guys, those contenders in the flyweight division when I grow older, and he has done just that. Now 6-3 as a pro fighter in the flyweight division, Bravo is definitely one to watch. Here we see the replay of what took place in this matchup, in this fight, and he had a lot of success with the grappling for the entirety of those 3 rounds. Mixing things up with the ground and pound, with the submission attempts, going to the body, going to the head. Beautiful performance.
Very humble in victory, Jaguar. No call out, no nothing. He just wants to work. Very happy with his comeback. Giving props to Luis Power Solórzano, saying he used to watch him in his dad's TV.
Yeah.
Very happy with his win and very humble in his win as well.
And you asked him as well about that bad streak that he had, and he said it's very humbling. He just said, I gotta keep working, and that's what MMA is about, evolution, showing that you have evolved, that you have gotten better, and I think that was a great display of him getting better and evolving.
And not backing down and not giving up, trying to come back from a bad streak.
Most definitely. We're ready for our co-main event in the welterweight division. This is the tail of the tape. Irving Mustang Cardona against Edgar Smooth Escarrega. 4-4 against 12-4. This is going to be a fantastic fight, and we're ready to cut out this promo. We're going to give it up to the production team.
Ya chicos, viene el co-main de la noche. El Mustang contra Smooth Escarrega.
Peleador muy fuerte, muy aguerrido, un buen background en todos los circuitos de sumisión.
Un profesionalista de jiu-jitsu brasileño contra un peleador muy versátil en Smooth.
Con una complexión física que le hace tener muchísimas ventajas contra otros oponentes.
They can both go to the ground or be on the feet. Don't wait for this to last long. Watch for an early finish.
This matchup is going to be absolutely incredible, Salvi. We got 2 guys who are savages on the feet, who are savages on the ground, and who have great finishing instincts. So what can the people at home expect from this fight?
Finally, the co-main event of the evening. Edgar Escarrega, Smooth, not him. Obviously, this is Irving Cardona, but I was just going to say Edgar Escarrega with a very smooth striking base, very elusive. And Irving, by his side, is a grappler. We saw him win via armbar.
And in
his last
SFN
fight,
7, yes.
Supreme Fight Night 7. Not the most impressive record by the side of Irving, but nonetheless, he is not underwhelming opponent for Edgar Escarrega in the least.
And we've seen it tonight. Records are for DJs. They don't matter in MMA, because at the end of the day, what matters is what happens inside the cage. Styles make fights. And talking about styles, this is a grappler going against a striker, as Escarrega is, who we've seen in his past fights suffering from the grappling.
Yeah, we saw Escarrega in
Cage
Warriors having a tough time dealing with a big, heavy grappler. So, need to mention, this is not Edgar Escarrega's natural weight class.
Yeah, that's also very important.
He fights a weight class below, and Irving is a true welterweight. We're expecting him to be much bigger than Edgar for this matchup.
Yeah, Irving last competed in October of 2024, as you mentioned, against Sergio Perez, where he won the armbar in the first round. And although he has been inactive in the last year, He had 3 fight cancellations in 2025, and he's looking forward to finally getting back to competition and on track towards a positive record. He's very quick on the feet. His grappling game is extremely good, but I feel like he must be able to close the distance against a much larger man in order to have success tonight. He's a kill or be killed type of fighter, so we can expect a finish regardless of the outcome.
Here we have coming out Edgar Smooth Escarrega, brother of
Fabricio
Escarrega, member of the PI in the UFC. You've seen him fight for Budo a lot.
He's
Very
actually
talented.
headlining the next Budo.
He is
show.
headlining the next Budo card. I've had the pleasure of working with his brother. They're both very competent strikers with a, I'm not going to say the most unusual style, but not the most orthodox stand-up style. They're very smooth, like his nickname says.
Yeah, very fitting.
They can surprise you. It's not that they don't have a competent ground game, but it's where they lack the most.
Definitely.
So if Irving can expose any area, it would be the ground. But you know how MMA works. When you see a lacking, that's what you work on to try and close that gap with your opponents. So we're going to see if Edgar's been able to close that gap in the grappling.
And although, as you already mentioned, Edgar's bread and butter is his striking, he's not a bad jiu-jitsu player. It's just the fact is Irving Cardona, that's his bread and butter.
Yeah,
that's his
base.
base. So although Edgar usually competes at lightweight, now that he didn't have to cut that much weight for the welterweight limit, that may help him as well because he's a really lanky guy. He's very long. He knows how to use that length, and that can play a huge factor in this fight.
You know, it's an ongoing debate in MMA whether it's necessary to cut that much weight. When we often see fighters stay close or much closer to their natural weight, you often see them have more success than if they would cut a tremendous amount of weight and dehydrate themselves, replenish themselves to make that weight. It can affect your cardio, it can affect your strength on fight night, especially if you don't recover that weight in a good way.
And this guy, as we already mentioned, he has competed for top-level MMA organizations before. This is his MFL debut, but he has competed for Cage Warriors, for UWC, Naciones MMA, Combate Global. This guy has a lot of experience, and that probably will matter for this matchup because although he may not be favored in the grappling, as we already stated, he's definitely favored in the striking department.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of experience, Edgar has more wins than Irving has matches. So that doesn't necessarily always correlate to Edgar having the clear victory, but it is a huge advantage.
Yeah, and we are going to see it in the main event as well. Gable Steveson only has 2 pro MMA fights. Hugo has 11 wins on his record.
Yeah, Hugo has more losses than Gable has fights. He has only 3 losses.
And we are ready for our announcer to give out the announcement for this co-main event. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the co-main event of the evening. 3 rounds in the welterweight division. Damas y caballeros, esta es la pelea coestelar de la noche, pactada a 3 asaltos en la categoría de peso welter. Presentando primero, en la esquina azul, un especialista en grappling, con un récord profesional de 4 victorias y 4 derrotas, midiendo 1,75 m, pesando 169 libras. Presenting now, fighting out of the blue corner, a grappler, holding a professional record of 4 wins, 4 losses. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing at 169 pounds. Fighting out of San Luis Potosí, Mexico, Irving Mustang Cardona. Y su oponente en la esquina roja, un especialista en striking, con un récord profesional de 12 victorias, 4 derrotas y un empate, midiendo 1,80 m, pesando 166 libras. Presenting now, fighting out of the red corner, a striker, holding a professional record of 12 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw. He stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing at 166 pounds. Fighting out of Ensenada, Baja California, Smooth Escarrega. El referee encargado, the referee in charge, Fernando Salas.
Ya conocen el reglamento. Hagan una pelea limpia y escúchenme todo el tiempo. Choquen los guantes si quieren a sus esquinas.
You can feel the heat in this welterweight matchup in the co-main event for MFL 3. Edgar Smooth Escarrega in red corner, and in the blue corner, Irving Mustang Cardona.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Edgar striking, and let's see if Irving can handle the striking and eventually take it down to the ground.
We are ready for the poetry in motion to kick off in this welterweight matchup. Edgar Smooth Escarrega with the black trunks, and in the gray trunks, Mustang.
A lot of feints by Edgar right away. We saw that clash of legs as Edgar was attempting the inside leg kick. We don't want a repeat of Renzo's kick
God,
tonight.
No, please, no.
I kind of saw that clash there, and I thought, oof, not again.
Escarrega looking smooth, just like his nickname says, with the feints, framing with the right hand.
Shin on shin wouldn't be as dangerous. We would just see probably Edgar's. Oh, big high kick and big dump by Irving, taking down Edgar, but Edgar cinching up a triangle right away. Right away. He needs to keep control of Irving's head. And oh, it is in. It is
tight.
In. It is not quite on the ankle. It's on the foot. It needs to be more on the ankle. And Edgar is trying to shove his shoulder in. That allows him to breathe a little better. But that triangle's on. He can elbow from there. It is a dangerous place for Irving to be. And he can also attack the arm from here. You can
I think he's looking for it.
It looked like a tap. It looked like a tap. He's claiming it's not, but it was a tap. It was a clear tap. It was a weird scenario because he kind of tapped and then didn't tap. But no, that was a clean tap on my book.
Yeah, a Brazilian tap, I feel. It was a slide tap, but it was very clear.
He kind of did like a motion, like slapping the tap, and then it looked a little bit weird. That's why we had like a little underwhelming reaction.
Yeah,
the crowd was like, what happened? It was a weird tap, but tap nonetheless.
Definitely, and you called it out. He was looking for the armbar, and what was most impressive is Irving caught the kick, and Edgar didn't take less than 12 seconds, 10 seconds to get the triangle.
As soon as he tried to dump Edgar, Edgar snatched on that triangle. The armbar was in danger. The head was in danger. Beautiful jiu-jitsu by Edgar. And we were mentioning he's been exposed in that area before. He has clearly shown he is not that inadequate in this area.
And this shows the evolution. And what we talked about, mixed martial arts are all about evolution. Edgar keeps evolving and moving upwards with now a 13-4 record, which is really impressive.
Very impressive performance by Edgar Smooth Escarrega this night. We hope to see him again in MFL in the future. That was a big kick that Irving was able to catch and dump Edgar, but as soon as it fell into the ground, Edgar immediately hangs onto the head and closes up that triangle.
And there's where he's looking for the armbar immediately after taking that triangle. Heavily locked in, and there's a tap. It was very slight. It was very not noticeable, but at the end of the day, he got the job done. We're ready, David.
Damas y caballeros, el referee Fernando Salas detuvo el combate al minuto con 17 segundos del primer round. Ladies and gentlemen, the referee Fernando Salas stopped the fight at 1 minute, 17 seconds of the very first round. Declaring the winner by submission due to a triangle choke, Edgar Smooth Escarrega.
Estoy aquí con Edgar Smooth Escarrega. Edgar, ¿cómo te sientes después de esta gran victoria aquí en tu debut de MFL?
¿Cómo estás, Monterrey? Toda la gloria y la honra es para Dios primeramente. Me siento muy bendecido porque esta es la tercera vez que estoy aquí en estas tierras. Encantado de estar con ustedes. Esta pelea simplemente es para mis padres y mis hermanos, principalmente que son el motor de mi vida. Y aquí estamos.
Edgar, inmediatamente cuando él te cacha la patada y te tira al piso, inmediatamente cierras ese triángulo. Desde que lo cachaste, ¿sentiste que ya lo tenías, que ya no se iba a poder salir de ahí?
Bueno, pues mi idea era fintar un golpe y tirar la high kick. Así se dieron las cosas, fue circunstancial.
Bienvenido
Pero no
al Main
pudimos
Event.
aprovechar la oportunidad y pues supimos concretar al final. Quiero mandarle un saludo a toda Ensenada, Baja California. Aquí estamos. Son un peso ligero, pero la toro a quien sea. Aquí estamos para pelear.
Edgar Smooth Escarrega.
We have Gable Steveson, an American.
Those were the words, the statement from Edgar Smooth Escarrega in the welterweight division. But as he just said, he's not even a welterweight. This guy competes at lightweight and getting the job done against a natural, heavy-handed welterweight with great jiu-jitsu, with a submission win in the first round via triangle choke with an armbar attached to it as well. So this guy, one to look out for in the 155 pounds division as well as 170 pounds. His brother Fabricio Escarrega is also a huge prospect here in Mexico. He'll be headlining Budo Cento in their next show. So the Escarrega brothers are on fire right now. We're seeing the sequence, the replay of that beautiful transition to the triangle, to the submission, to the armbar. That was some beautiful work. And we see the tap right there, very slight, almost not noticeable, but it did happen. It was a Brazilian tap. The guy complained, Irving complained, but at the end of the day, when you tap, even if it's slight, it's a tap. So he got the job done. Beautiful work by Escarrega, who now moves up to 13-4 and 1 no contest. 18 fights as a pro, and as he just said, he's ready for anyone from 155 pounds to 170. So anyone that is listening to our broadcast right now and who may want to fight this guy at 155 pounds or 170, really good. We're going to a commercial break because we're ready for the main event of the evening. Everyone's been waiting for this moment. Steveson versus Lezama. Please, please.
The moment we've all been waiting for.
Please.
Gable versus Hugo Lezama. We have one of the MFL owners here by our side, Mac Mayer. Mac, tell us a little bit about how excited you are for this main event.
Yeah, I couldn't be more excited. Having Gable Steveson come down here to Mexico really is providing a great opportunity for the next generation and current best fighters here in Mexico. That's the goal of the MFL. It's pretty simple. Provide a platform that gives the best exposure to these fighters worldwide. Couldn't be more happy to have Gable and his team down here. Just looking for a great fight.
Incredible night of fights, and as Max said, an incredible showcase of Mexican talent and young talent here at the MFL. We've had an amazing night of fights, and now we get ready for the creme de la creme, our main event, the top show, Gable Steveson versus Hugo Lezama.
This is history in the making, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if we'll ever see a heavyweight bout as big as this one here in Mexico in the MMA stage, but man, Gable Steveson versus Hugo Lezama is truly historic.
This is as big as it gets in Mexico, really, Iker. This might be, in a Mexican promotion, the highest expected fight, the highest hyped fight in history, and it's at heavyweight, something you wouldn't expect.
We're ready for the tail of the tape, and we see it right now.
I can't believe my eyes. I have Gable Steveson on the tail of the tape here at an MFL event versus Hugo Lezama.
Pandemonium, we see it. He's more tall. He has a much wider record, but we're ready for the promo. Let's go.
We have Gable Steveson, an American, Olympic gold medalist at the 2020 Tokyo Games.
Might be one of the greatest heavyweight UFC prospects in the last decade.
Contra el mexicano Hugo Pandemonio Lezama, un peleador de 11-3, bien logrado aquí en México.
The top of one nation.
Otro monstruo. La guerra de titanes, la pelea que todo el mundo quiere ver.
This is war. We're ready for it now.
Ya chicos, mis gallos tienen el main event de la noche.
I cannot stress this enough. The show center right now is absolutely packed. Everyone is on their feet.
Everyone is on their feet. Everyone is on their feet. Here we hear the Olympic music for the Olympic champion, gold medalist in wrestling, Gable Steveson, winner of the 2021 Olympic Games in wrestling.
in Japan.
Yeah, Tokyo 2021 Olympic gold medalist in freestyle wrestling, competing at 285 pounds. This guy is a massive, massive athletic freak of nature, a heavyweight fighter that has been rising through the ranks ever since he made his MMA debut less than a year ago. And that's all due to his sporting credentials. Just look at that corner, man.
And there we see the GOAT of MMA, Johnny Bones Jones, standing behind him alongside Brandon Gibson and Greg Jackson. Sorry, I'm just so hyped up for this moment right now. We have Gable Steveson walking out, getting showered in water. Former Buffalo Bills signee, former WWE signee, now here in MFL, ready to delight us with his fighting skills.
If we talked about all his sporting accolades, we wouldn't even be able to talk the entirety of the fight, probably, because this guy has been an under 20, under 17 world champion in 2017, 2016, 2015, two-time NCAA champion. In 2021, he won absolutely everything in wrestling. Big Ten champion, trained by John Jones. This guy was born in May of 2000. It's just incredible.
Unbelievable power is the way I can describe Gable's last MMA performance. Just running through his opponents with decimating power, decimating strikes. We see the crowd going crazy for Johnny Bones Jones. He's going to be walking behind us in just a moment. Here we see Brandon Gibson, the GOAT, Johnny Bones Jones walking behind us.
Man, let's see if all of the hype is real. This is insane.
And here we see everybody swarming John Jones in the corner next to us. They're not going to let him coach this fight. They're just going to surround him. But let's get back to Gable.
Yeah.
That's what we're here to talk about. Gable.
Keys to victory for Gable, I think most definitely the Olympic level of wrestling, explosiveness, youth, power. But what else? What else can we say about Gable's keys to victory for tonight?
Just the wrestling. I mean, how do you deal with Olympic caliber wrestling by Gable Steveson? He is just a monster of a man. Super athletic, super quick. Lezama has never seen this high level of wrestling before in his career. So we're going to give him the MMA experience, but you have to hands down give Gable the wrestling experience.
And Gable is also used to this high level of pressure because being an Olympic champion is really, really high pressure. And being mentored by John Jones, I think, is also a massive key to victory. Having the GOAT on your corner is definitely something that everybody would want as an MMA fighter. But Hugo Pandemonium Lezama is here to steal the show. The current Budo Cento heavyweight champion, Mexico's most accomplished heavyweight fighter in all of MMA today, and perhaps of all time. Hugo has 3 losses on his record, but he has avenged 2 of those losses and is currently coming off a revenge win against Victor de Paula in the second round with his second title defense for Budo Cento.
Hugo Lezama getting ready to play party pooper, getting ready to destroy this hype train that is Gable Steveson. He would love nothing more in front of a Mexican crowd to be able to play spoiler in front of this very, very hyped crowd for Gable. As we've said, Hugo is easily, here we hear the Mexico chants, Hugo is easily the most accomplished heavyweight fighter in Mexico's MMA history. He trains out of Bone Breakers, very well-rounded, loves to compete in all aspects of MMA individually, loves to compete in jiu-jitsu, loves to compete in taekwondo. He spoke to us at the airport, was telling us he recently got into Kyokushin karate, the very heavy head-kicking, body-punching style of karate. I would not recommend him look for head kicks tonight because Gable can catch those and dump him. But he is very dangerous on the feet, and we will see if he can hang with Gable's explosivity at the beginning of this matchup. I am just so excited for this.
I'm in awe, dude.
I can't.
I'm in awe. I'm in shock that this is actually happening. This is real, guys. This is real.
We're actually going to see Hugo Lezama versus Gable Steveson right here at MFL 3.
And most people thought that there would be a huge weight disadvantage, but Hugo Lezama weighed in at 238 pounds.
Yeah.
The heaviest he has ever weighed, and Gable Steveson at 249. We're ready for the official announcement of this main event for MFL 3. David, let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. Brought to you by Steel Mac Wines. Damas y caballeros, y ahora sí, el momento que todos estaban esperando. Esta es la pelea estelar de la noche, presentada por Steel Mac Wines. This fight is 3 rounds in the heavyweight division. Esta pelea es a 3 asaltos en la categoría de peso completo. Presentando primero, en la esquina azul, un luchador de clase mundial, con un récord profesional de 2 victorias y 0 derrotas, midiendo 1,85 m, pesando 249 libras. Presenting now, fighting out of the blue corner, a world-class wrestler, holding a professional record of 2 wins, no losses. He stands 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing at 249 pounds. Fighting out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, USA, Gable Steveson. Y su oponente en la esquina roja, un peleador de artes marciales mixtas, con un récord profesional de 11 victorias y 3 derrotas, midiendo 1,90 m, pesando 238 libras. Presenting now, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record of 11 wins, 3 losses. He stands 6 feet 3 inches tall, weighing at 238 pounds. Fighting out of Ciudad de Mexico, Hugo Bantamweight Lezama. Y el referee encargado, the referee in charge, Antonio Guerrero.
You know the rules. Broken all the times. Good try. Touch gloves. Corner.
The show center complex is absolutely trembling right now. Everyone is on their feet. My goodness, I truly cannot believe this is real. In the red corner, we have Hugo Pandemonium Lezama. In the blue corner, with the black trunks, Gable Steveson.
Unbelievable atmosphere we're leaving here at the Show Center complex. Very split crowd.
And the poetry in motion starts for the main event. Steveson takes the center of the octagon, and he's starting to pressure Pandemonium quickly, very early.
Yes, we see Gable right on that front foot. Hugo throwing big punches right away, trying to gain respect from Gable. And Hugo shooting a takedown on Gable, not the best strategy. Gable runs around behind and stays on top of Hugo. Let's see if Gable's going to start showering big punches downward. I feel that's going to be the strategy.
Immediately getting the side control on Hugo.
Right into side control. I feel he's going to start landing some big elbows.
Very interesting that Hugo went for the takedown.
Yeah, I did not expect that. Maybe he was trying to catch Gable off guard, but not really effective.
Gable is respecting Hugo's guard though a lot, and that speaks volumes to how he studied Hugo, because his jiu-jitsu game is really good.
Ooh, trip by Hugo, trying that spinning back kick it to the body. Big punches by Gable, big punches. I think Hugo is cut. Gable snatches on a submission. Hugo's nose is probably busted. These are heavy, big shots Gable throws. It's just so much power raining down. Gable wants him on his feet.
And we didn't even mention Hugo's keys to victory, but we expected him to actually use his kicks, use his experience. He lands a spinning wheel kick.
There's that Kyokushin karate he was talking about. Big waving punches by Hugo, but Hugo is taking a lot of damage by Gable.
That uppercut was
big
nasty.
shots. Gable's going to take him down here. Gable landing some big shots. So far, Iked, I think Hugo is taking him the longest anybody else is throwing here. We see Gable covering the mouth, trying to make this fight uncomfortable for Hugo. I don't like where Gable's fingers are placed on Hugo's face, though. Seemed a little...
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's okay to cover the mouth to suffocate, but you can't have your fingers in the eyes or any orifice on the face.
But you can just tell the amount of power that Gable has, because every single time he hits Hugo,
damage.
there's damage in the face, and you can just see Hugo's body language. He doesn't like it one bit.
No, those are big shots that Gable lands, and with a lot of power behind them. You see Hugo does not take to damage this way regularly, and this might be if Hugo cannot get out of there, this might be it.
Yeah, I think this is about to be it. The referee is very close to the action. The ground and pound is raining heavily on Hugo.
Okay, we see Hugo survive a little bit more, but if Gable gets this mount and starts raining down punches, this might be it, Ike.
Hugo is showing a lot of heart, though.
Yeah, Hugo's gonna hang on until the end, but as we said, Gable's power behind these punches will deal a lot of damage, and even if Hugo wants to stay in this fight, he cannot take much punishment from Gable's power shots.
Especially from the ground and pound that we've seen for these first 3 minutes of the fight.
Might we see Gable Steveson head into the second round for the first time in his career? I don't know. It's not looking good for Hugo at the moment, but Gable is staying composed, patient. He is not rushing to finish this fight. He is staying composed, and Hugo is just holding on for dear life in these positions.
He's surviving. The referee is very close to the action. Gable is raining the heavy ground and pound, and that's it! Another first-round victory for Gable Steveson. The Olympic wrestling champion moves up to 3-0 as an MMA pro fighter, and he does it here in MFL.
Gable Steveson reigning tonight in Monterrey, Mexico, defeating his most accomplished opponent as of yet, being Hugo Lezama by ground and pound. Just relentless damage by Gable.
And Hugo had some good moments. He landed that spinning wheel kick.
Yes.
But I think he didn't have the greatest balance in this fight. He tripped himself with that spinning back kick, and that was the beginning of the end, because once Gable is on top of you, it's very hard to get out of there.
Here we see a nice show of respect between Gable and Hugo. Big shots trying to be landed there by Hugo. That takedown attempt maybe wasn't the best strategy he could have implemented, but there we see him fall over with that spinning back
And even
kick.
as he's falling over, he's landing the overhand. Hugo was really trying his
he
best.
tried to throw that spinning back fist. That was the nice Kyokushin spinning kick he threw, but Gable just stayed tight, stayed consistent, stayed composed, and really dominated this fight.
That uppercut also against the fence was nasty. Great work by Gable Steveson. The entire corner is inside the octagon. We see John Jones, Craig Gibson, and the entire team surrounding Gable, surrounding the octagon, because this is Gable's first main event outside of the USA for his MMA career, but I believe that there's going to be way more to come. If you didn't think that the hype is real, well, now you know. We are ready for the official result from our announcer, David Guevara. David,
Damas y caballeros, el referee Antonio Guerrero detuvo el combate a los 3 minutos con 50 segundos del primer round. Ladies and gentlemen, the referee Antonio Guerrero stopped the fight at 3 minutes, 50 seconds of the very first round. Declaring the winner by TKO, Gable Steveson.
Gable. Señoras y señores, estoy aquí con Gable Steveson. Ahora sí, señoras y señores, un aplauso también, claro, para Johnny Bones Jones, que está aquí con nosotros. Estoy aquí con Gable Steveson. Gable, te mantuviste compuesto contra un oponente con mucha experiencia y no te apresuraste para terminar esta pelea. Gable, you stayed really composed against your most experienced opponent yet, not rushing that finish. You stayed composed the whole time. Talk to me about the fight.
Thank you, Mexico. Sorry. Gracias, Mexico. Oh, I feel great. A lot of things get better on, but I'm getting better by each day.
Me sentí muy bien, mejoro cada día. Gable, cuéntanos, ¿qué sigue para ti después de esta pelea? ¿Qué esperas en tu carrera? Gable, what's next for you? What's up next for your career?
I'm going to take a shower and go back to the hotel and fall asleep.
Me voy a ir a mi hotel y me voy a bañar y me voy a dormir. What were you expecting out of Hugo in this fight, if anything?
Tough fight, a guy who didn't give up. Great competitor, I'm glad I stepped in.
Hugo, esperaba yo una pelea muy difícil y dura contra Hugo, es un gran competidor y estoy contento que pude tomar esta pelea.
Thank you, Mexico, man. I appreciate it. Hopefully I can come back. But on to the next for me.
Gable Steveson, ladies and gentlemen.
Those are the words, the statement that Gable Steveson just gave to Salvi, to the entire MFL broadcast.
Aquí vamos a hablar con Hugo Lezama, señoras y señores. Hugo, cuéntanos
Lezama.
cómo te sientes después de esta pelea.
Pues me siento bien. Íbamos más o menos bien en la estrategia, pero esos codazos sí me aturdieron. Sí me costó más trabajo pararme, pero estuvo... Bueno, la estrategia estaba funcionando. Logré conectar unos buenos golpes, una patada de giro. Sí, Gable aguanta como los grandes. La neta, muchas gracias Gable por tomar la pelea. Y pues qué chingón poder pelear con uno de los mejores del mundo, atleta olímpico. Y pues aquí un chavito de Cuautla que no tenía nada que hacer, está peleando con los mejores. Pues vamos a seguirle dando.
¿Algo te sorprendió de Gable, su fuerza, su explosividad? ¿Algo de la pelea? ¿Qué fue lo que más te sorprendió de Gable?
Pues sabíamos que teníamos un 30-25% de posibilidades de ganar la pelea. Entonces realmente no me sorprendió tanto más que la velocidad con la que entraba a los derribes. Me gustó poder probarme y pelear con él y pues gracias por todas las oportunidades a MFL, gracias a Mike, gracias a Brandon, gracias a Marco y pues a seguirle dando. Y gracias Monterrey por recibirnos tan bonito acá. Esperamos volver pronto.
Hugo Pandenomio Lezama, señoras y señores.
And now we see the highlights from the main event. Hugo Lezama landing those beautiful kicks, the bicycle kicks, the overhands, but Gable Steveson showing his dominance on the ground with the grappling, with his Olympic wrestling credentials. What a fantastic fight card this has been. I'm so happy and proud to be able to say that Mexico Fight League has just begun their calendar for 2026, but expect a lot more to come for this year. Gable Steveson versus Hugo Lezama just kicked off this calendar year, but you can expect way more coming soon in Monterrey, in Mexico City as well for the upcoming events for Mexico Fight League. Gable Steveson just made an absolute statement. We shall see what's next for him. We've seen people like Joe Rogan inviting him on his podcast. We've seen even Dana White talk about him before. So perhaps he's ready for the big stages now after his third pro win. My name is Iker Gamba, better known as the MMA Poet. I was accompanied by Salvi Alduncin. And we're ready to say goodbye to you guys. See you in the next one.
Hey, everybody, I'm back. Couldn't get a lot out of Gable. He wanted to get out of here, clearly. But, yeah, very impressive. Hugo in very good spirits. Showcased a lot of heart. That kick was very nice. He attempted a lot of mutual respect among them. I don't know if you heard Hugo say he felt he had a 30-25% chance of winning this fight. I didn't like hearing that from him.
Wow.
But
okay.
yeah, he seemed much more confident during the week. But man, Iker, what a great event. We're closing up. Fantastic night of fights here at MFL 3. A pleasure calling these fights by your side. And wow, what a treat we were treated to in these matchups.
Thank you to Joe, to Mac, to Marco, to everyone from the MFL staff, the production team, the commissions, the fighters. We are ready for MFL 4 coming up soon. See you very soon.
See you later, everybody.
estaba muy